B'Shem Hashem Na'aseh V'Natzliach, Shiur Torah, Baruch Hashem. We are back in Sunny Isles in Shaarei Tzion, Sunny Isles, Florida. Shaarei Tzion, our Wednesday Shiur, Stump the Rabbi. The Shiur for questions and answers. And the B'ezrat Hashem will have some toilet, some useful learning for people here, for people at home to learn from. Hopefully you guys have some questions, but Baruch Hashem, B'darkenu b'kedusha, in the way of holiness, even if you guys don't have questions, we'll ask the questions, and B'ezrat Hashem, we'll see what Hashem has to say about it, giving us the answers, B'ezrat Hashem. Shiur today will be for Ilui Nishmat, Joshua, Ilui Nishmat, Eliyahu ben Frecha, and Refuah Shlema for Esther bat Zipporah. Also for Refuah Shlema for Sarah bat Levana, Ovadia ben Levana, Yosef ben Levana, for Rav Ephraim ben Shulamit, Rabbanit Sarah bat Anat, David ben Esriya, Doris bat Jora, Elisheva Chaya bat Sarah, Dvorah bat Mercedes, and Yochevet bat Batya bat Sarah, and all of Am Yisrael B'ezrat Hashem will have Refuah Shlema, Refuat HaNefesh, Refuat HaGuf. So, Baruch Hashem, the last couple of shiurim have really gotten some great feedback. I think that the addiction to more has gotten some of the best feedback we've ever had. So anyone that hasn't watched it yet should watch it. But I can tell you guys what I do. One time, Rav Ephraim told me a story, or he said the story in a shiur, and he asked me, what did you think of the story? I said, oh no, I know the story already. He goes, oh, you already knew it? I said, yeah, you already told it to me a year and a half ago in this and this shiur. He goes, really? I thought I just learned it now. He goes, no, you knew it already. You told me a year and a half ago. He says, just like you know all the Gemara by heart, I know your shiurim by heart. Why? Because when it's a quality shiur, you want to watch it a few times. If you have a quality shiur, there's no problem of listening to it multiple times. I know that myself, if I'm shiurim, on the average, I listen to them at least twice. Many of the shiurim that I listened to in the past from Rav Mizrahi Sheikhye, I listened to it multiple times. Rav Yagen Alav Shalom, I listened to many of his shiurim multiple times. Many shiurim, if they're quality shiurim, you could learn from them many things that you're not going to learn on the first take. That's why sometimes it's silly that you get messages from people. It's like, oh, you have any new shiurim? I haven't watched anything in a while. I mean, Baruch Hashem, we have new shiurim every week, but there are certain channels, for example, that we stopped posting shiurim. But we have 100 shiurim on that channel. So they ask, oh, I haven't seen a new shiur on this channel in a long time. I said, okay, so go to a different channel. He goes, no, I can't go to the other one. I can't go to YouTube. I only go to this. I said, okay, so we'll just watch the other shiurim again. Oh, there's nothing new? Well, you know all 100 shiurim by heart? I don't know 100 shiurim by heart, and I'm the one that gave them. Meaning that when something is a good shiur, it's a good idea sometimes to listen to it multiple times. But Baruch Hashem, we're providing new shiurim every week, so there's many new things that we could all learn each week. There's the clips, there's the shiurim themselves. But that's also why I always recommend for people to take down notes. When you watch a shiur and something stands out in your head, a good story or something in the Gemara, whatever it is, write it down, because that's also going to help your memory. Because when you listen to shiur, if it's just the audio, then you're just using one sense. If you're watching a shiur, then you're using two senses. But if you're watching, you're hearing, and you're also writing, now you're adding another sense. The more senses you use, the more it improves your memory. And I know personally that, I've given this advice at least 50 times to people in shiurim to write down notes, but still many, many people don't follow it, and it's a mistake, because I see a lot of times people sending me questions during the week. Usually it's the same week that I say, oh yeah, what you asked, I mentioned in a shiur on Sunday. What you asked, I mentioned in a shiur yesterday. He goes, oh, I watched it. I don't remember. Okay, so watch it again. Watch it again. Watch it 5 times. Watch it until you remember it. That's the point. This is not a movie. It's a limud. Limud Torah is something that you have to go over and over and over and over again in order to understand what's really happening. But anyway, as a side note, before you guys start with some of your questions, if you remember last week, I told you guys a story. I read you a letter, or maybe it was Sunday. I read you a letter that one of our students from South America sent us about how when she and her husband took on themselves to protect the bleeped, they never in their wildest dreams thought that this will have any effect on their kid. They have 2 kids. And their older kid, 9-year-old kid, was a troubled kid, had a lot of issues, had to take all types of drugs in order to calm him down, was very aggressive, cursed his parents. Very, very difficult. And Hashem Yerachem, there are many, many cases like this today. It seems like every other day, a parent tells me that, oh yeah, the teacher or the rabbi or the principal or somebody is recommending that my kid take this ADHD drugs. Every kid all of a sudden is mentally retarded. There's nothing wrong with kids. It's just they're being kids most of the times. Most of the time they're just active because they're being kids. But unfortunately, many times the teachers or the parents or both are lazy or don't have the patience to deal with it. But sometimes the kids are troubled. Sometimes the kids do have an issue. But the Chachamim say that it's not always what you think. It's not always something that's unsolvable. Like the doctors sometimes tell a person, listen, I'm sorry to tell you, you only have a month to live. 10 years later, the doctor dies, but the guy's still alive. Why? Because doctors are doctors. It's all, theoretic. It's all guessing. It's not all, it's not verifiable science at all times. A lot of times they just, they don't really know what they're talking about a lot of times. Sometimes they do. But many times they give you estimates and all types of things that they say that are completely ridiculous. Many of the Chachamim would take offense to it when doctors would give people a specific amount of time to live. Like they had a very bad condition. Says, oh, I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry, ma'am. You only have a week to live. You only have a month to live. And these poor people would come to the tzaddikim and say, oh, the doctor says I only have a month to live. What should I do? Some of these tzaddikim says, who does this doctor think he is? God? Only HaKadosh Baruch Hu decides how long you're going to live. Dafka, you're going to live now. And the people would live. So, point is, this family wanted to get closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So, the wife, God bless her, she's mamash tzadikah. She tries very, very hard to not only learn Torah herself, fulfill the mitzvot, cover her hair, do all the things that you need, but also she's trying to get her husband and her family on board. But it's very difficult to do it all by yourself, especially when you have a difficult kid and there's fighting and there's arguing between the parents because of the kid. So anyway, she heard one day the shiur that we made about become bleeped, about wasting seed, how it's terrible, how it creates problems, and so on and so forth. And she realized that this is a problem that she has in her own house, her husband. So she told him, listen, let's make a deal. You watch your bleeped and learn Torah, and I'll be with you as much as you want. Meaning you don't have to waste seed. You don't have to watch all this filth on the computer. You want to be? No problem. Husband is happy as can be. Okay, took it on. Ishtabach Shimolad. Never in their wildest dreams did they think this is going to affect their kids. But she said the day that they actually made this big decision was a Shabbat, was a Friday night, when they came home on Shabbat afternoon, all of a sudden the kid starts acting normal. All of a sudden he says nice things. All of a sudden he's very polite. All of a sudden he's very patient. Mamash, Yad Hashem. So this we publicize in our newsletter. God bless her. Baitya, she published a weekly newsletter we have. We published this letter that she wrote us, telling us the details of all this story. Now, why am I telling you the story again? Because there was a development earlier today that you really don't want to miss. If you're a parent especially, you don't want to miss this. She sends me a picture of 2 drawings of hearts. And under it, it says, I love you, Abba. And heart signs, and it's red, and it's a cute little drawing of a kid. And she says, she writes, this never happened before. The kid never said such things. Never said, I love you, Abba. Never drew hearts, I love you, parents. Nothing. Imagine as a parent, 9 years you have a kid in your house, never says, I love you. I'm not sure if that's worse or Gehinom's worse. I'm not really sure. Because you're investing all of your time, all of your energy, all of your everything to help this kid, and you never hear, I love you. It's a nightmare. Instead, you're hearing the kid curse you, and it's not even the kid that wants to do it. He just, there's something wrong. But as soon as the Kadosh Baruch Hu sees that his people are following his mitzvot with mesirut nefesh, with sacrifice, because it's hard for them to protect their brit. It's hard for them to keep Shabbat. It's hard for them to learn Torah every day. It's hard for them in the beginning because they don't have the sweetness of Torah. They don't have the sweetness of mitzvot yet. So it's hard for them to do it. It's hard for them to quit smoking marijuana. It's hard for them to leave the Goya girlfriend. It's hard for them to start dressing modestly. Why? Because they're used to getting attention from all their friends. You know, anytime they walk around naked in the street, everybody says, wow, you look great. You look just like Adam Rishon. So all of a sudden, she's not getting all of those. She thinks she's not going to get any compliments. She thinks she's not going to be pretty because now she suddenly has clothes on. So it's hard for her to be modest. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, it's hard for you. That's what makes it special for me. Dafka, I want it. The one that's hard for you, protect the breed, Shabbat, Tarat Mishpacha, all of these mitzvot, it's hard for you. That's why I want it. Because that shows me you love me. And if you do it, you open me an opening the size of the eye of the needle, I will open you the doors of a hall. Kadosh Baruch Hu says to the Chachamim, you tell Am Yisrael, you open me a small little opening, a little bit of mesirut nefesh, a little bit of sacrifice. You do something that's hard for you, I will open the world for you. All the miracles you can possibly imagine, I'll give you on a silver platter. These young parents was struggling with a kid for 9 years, didn't know right or left. At one point, the father told me, I was thinking of giving him up for adoption. The father Be'emet told me, he said, listen, I can't take it. I was thinking, when I would go home, I would hope he's not there. That's how hard it was. And I don't blame him. But now he has a kid that says, I love you, Abba. Ishtabach Shemo La'ad. The kid's normal. Why? HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, you stop wasting seed and it's hard for you, I'll open the whole world for you. This, Rabotai Karim, especially parents, you should always know, everything is possible. Everything is possible. You just have to convince Hashem. There was another woman that Hashem Yerachem, some years ago, something happened where one of the kids, little baby, got hurt. No one really knows how. The kid was only a month old. They took him to the hospital. After checking a few times, the hospital says, yeah, he has a fractured leg. Now, in this godforsaken country over here, the government is not exactly pro-Jews all the time. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Sometimes they act like Nazis. How so? I'll give you an example. The kid is injured. He's a little baby. He didn't play soccer. He's a baby. He didn't run yet. But he has a fractured leg. So they start asking the parents the question, how did it happen? How did it happen? The parents say, we don't know. We don't know. The baby's in the crib. No, we have no idea what happened. We just know the kid couldn't stop crying, and then the leg started swelling. We took him to the doctor. That's all that happened. Now you're telling us it broke somehow. We have no idea. As they're having the conversation, the police arrive. Arrest the parents. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. Hashem yirachem, Hashem yirachem, Hashem yirachem. Long story short, they take the kid. They take the kid. Now it's not enough. They take the other kid too. They take both kids of these parents. The other kid wasn't injured, didn't even have a bruise on him, nothing. They asked the kid questions, kid's normal. No. There's something wrong here. It's not normal that a 1-month-old kid broke his leg. You must be abusing this kid. They took both of her kids. She's been fighting to get her kids back for almost 7 years. All types of other complications happened. Point being, I spoke to her a month ago, 2 months ago, a month ago probably. And we talk different things. Baruch Hashem, they keep some Torah and Mitzvot. Some things they need to get a lot stronger on. And at one point I said, okay, so Be'ezrat Hashem, the goal is that we're going to do everything possible to convince Hashem to bring your kids back this year. She says, what? She says, what do you mean? So that's the point. We're going to do everything possible. If you do everything I tell you, all the mitzvot I tell you, all the limud, all the things your husband needs to do, all the things you have to do. You do everything you have to do. So Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu give you kids this year. So she asked me, she goes, you really think that's possible? I said, 1,000,000%. In fact, Hashem can give you the kids tomorrow if He wants. It's not hard for Hashem. It's hard for us to understand how Hashem can do it. Why? Because we don't believe in Him. Tachlis, we don't believe in Hashem. We believe in like a mini Hashem. We live like in a baby Hashem. That's what we believe in. We don't believe that HaKadosh Baruch Hu could do everything. Why? Because as soon as it comes to a difficulty that connects to our heart and our emotions take over, all of a sudden we start limiting Hashem. That's why, Rabotai Karim, it's very, very important to learn Torah and get chizuk and learn Musar and understand who HaKadosh Baruch Hu is. Last night at the end of the shiur, it was almost a 3-hour shiur. I think there's a very strong part that explains to people what Hashem Melech, Hashem Malach, Hashem Yimloch, Le'olam Vayed, what it really means. If an average Jew understood simply what it actually means, that God ruled, God rules now, God will rule in the future. Just understand that instead of just singing it, instead of just saying it in prayer, instead of just saying it, it's a nice thing to say, actually understood what it actually means, literally would change your life altogether. Hashem can do everything. The only thing is we have to convince Him with our actions to do it for us. Now, this week's parasha, Parashat Noach, we learned that HaKadosh Baruch Hu simply had it with this world. Simply was sick of this world. Simply was disgusted with the people of this world. Because of all of the sins that they made, they stole from each other, they committed adultery, they wasted seed, bestiality, homosexuality, and the Zohar Kadosh says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, although stealing was one of the most disgusting things in the eyes of Hashem, He signed the seal of destroying the world when they made marrying men with men legal. When they wrote Ktubot, on marrying men and men, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says this world has lost its right to exist. If anybody's been sleeping under a rock, it's also legal in America. It's also legal in Israel now. It's also legal all over in the world now in the last couple of years. Same exact thing as what happened in Parashat Noach is happening right now. Just without the Mabu yet. So, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a limitation to His patience in the sense that He expects us to do certain things. If you do them, you open a opening the size of the eye of the needle for Him. You follow what He says, especially when it's hard for you. He will give you the whole world, if you want, on a silver platter. Anything that you think is impossible, He'll show you how easy it is for Him. On the other hand, if we don't do what he says, not only will it bring trouble to our life, but unfortunately, it'll make life a nightmare. All of the things that we want simply will start disappearing. So there are certain things that we've discussed in the past of things that a person can do. There are certain things that we'll talk about Be'ezrat Hashem today as well, of another limud that we could add to our regimen. But before we go too long, I want you guys, in case you guys have some serious questions that are going to actually change your life, meaning something that's bothering you, something that's going to help you, something that you even think is going to help other people just to know it. I want you guys to ask some questions. This is the night for you, and Be'ezrat Hashem, after the questions, we'll go over some other things. So, in the back, I believe they have some questions. You have a question too, or you're still preparing it? Is it a question that you're just... Go ahead, Chavod.
Mashiach's coming guaranteed.
Mashiach's coming guaranteed. It's one of the Ikarei Emunah.
6,000 years.
No. What's the question?
Is it possible that... Does it depend on something? Does it depend on us?
Mashiach coming?
Yeah.
So what is the... okay, you could already pass the microphone to the back. I'll answer your question. Because it's all the way to the back to the other one. So what are the conditions for Mashiach to come? So there is a... Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin says that En ben David ba ela el dor shekulo zakai kulo chayav. The Gemara says that Mashiach is not going to come until there is a generation of fully righteous or fully wicked. So Chamim say it's not possible that the entire generation is going to be righteous, or vice versa, that the entire generation is going to be wicked. There's always going to be a little bit of both. So then the Chachamim explain it's not saying that everybody has to be righteous or everybody has to be wicked, but rather that it's going to get to a point where Hashem is going to put every single person to the test, that they have to pick a side. Either you're going to be 100% with Hashem, 100% emunah, 100% bitachon, 100% mesirut nefesh. You're going with Hashem, even though it's hard for you, even though you fail sometimes, even though you're doing your best, but truly your best, the best that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created you to do. Or you completely give up everything. You start eating pork, you start driving on Shabbat, you walk around immodestly without a care in the world, you start doing all types of things that are against Hashem, even if you know it's not right. You do it anyway. Why? You don't care. Meaning, that's what's going to happen eventually. And it's actually happening right now. You see that a lot of people that are getting off the derech, they're not getting off the derech like, they're just like not keeping Shabbat. They're just like, not eating kosher. When a guy goes off the derech, a woman goes off the derech, they become mamash like Amalek. They start making websites against Hashem, websites against the Torah. They start going out with all types of non-Jews, all types of things. They mamash become Amalek, worse than the Nazis. It's like they take revenge against Judaism. Like this Rasha Merusha Yuval Dayan, that says he was a rabbi for 16 years, went off the derech in the last year. He's now on secular television making fun of the Torah every day. Every day, that's what he does. He has a long pony, looks like a horse, and he makes fun of the Torah every day. Guy was supposedly a rabbi, Babkis. So now, what happened? He had to make a choice. He made the wrong one. He went completely off, and that's happening little by little. Everybody has to make that choice. The other thing is the Gemara also talks about there's other conditions that will happen. En ben David ba is usually the way it starts. Anytime it talks about Mashiach in the Gemara, the Mashiach will not come until such and such will happen. Such as, Gemara Masechet Sotah, page 49b, says it's going to be a generation of chutzpanim. People that have no manners, people that go against the Torah, make fun of rabbis, hate the truth. You give them musar, they say, nah, it's not relevant anymore. You show them a source in the Torah, they bring it to their Barbie doll rabbi, the Reform rabbi that calls himself Orthodox. Say, Rabbi, is this true that you're not allowed to waste seed? Rabbi says, no, it's not for this generation. So they go back to you and say, yeah, my rabbi, he's Talmid Chacham. He read 3 books in high school. He says that's not relevant. that wasting seed. Even though it says in the Torah it's not allowed. Even though it says in the Gemara it's not allowed. Even though it says Shulchan Aruch it's not allowed. Even though there's 1.5 million different books talking us that's not allowed. No, my rabbi that read 3 books in high school, he says no, it's okay. It's going to be people like this. Zohar Kadosh says the vast majority of the rabbis in the last generation before Mashiach will be Reshaim, will be Erev Rav. Also, Gemara Masechet Sanhedrin says that En Ben David Ba, that Mashiach will not come until everyone's broke. Everyone's going to lose all their money. Currency will lose its value. So everybody that's saving up for a rainy day, everyone is saving up for that 401k, for the retirement, for the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 17th house. All that stuff, just so you know, before Mashiach comes, you're going to lose everything. And you're going to regret the day you were born. Why? Because you could have used that money to help Am Yisrael do tshuva. That's also going to happen. I can tell you, I have already given a shiur about how all of that could happen in 5 minutes. People think, no, why? If the real estate market crashes, then the stock market will go up. If the stock market crashes, then the real estate market will go up. If both of them crash, then currencies will go up. If currency crashes, then gold will go up, and so on and so on. Everybody has a common sense way of how they're not going to lose all their money, like as if they're smarter than God. All God needs to do in order for all money to lose value is one thing: turn off electricity. That's it. Electricity is off, all of your bank accounts are wiped out. That cash you have in your pocket is worth 0. Doesn't matter if it's $1, doesn't matter if it's a ruble, doesn't matter if it's a shekel. Ken, kod harav.
כל אחד שהפנה את האוטו, אחרי 11 בלילה, הם גוררים את המכונות. הם הוציאו חוק חדש. אז תתן לכל אחד לשים את זה עם הפיקצ'ר, בתוך הדש של האוטו עכשיו. אחד ילך ישים. אני שמתי להם כמה, אתה יודע?
אוקיי, בסדר.
אבל יש עוד מכונות.
בסדר, כבוד הרב.
אז תגיד להם שלא רוצה שיגרו להם את האוטו.
אוקיי, בסדר. אוקיי, בסדר. Okay, so just as a public service announcement, there's a new rule in this town that you're not allowed to park past 11 o'clock. So in order to be able to do it, just put one of these in your dashboard so they don't tow your car. So anyone that has a car, just come pick one up and at some point put it in your car. But Bezrat Hashem, when you have doing mitzvot, you really shouldn't worry. But anyone that wants to do it can go do it. Anyway, Rabotai, there are certain things that will happen before Mashiach comes, and the Gemara gives us those conditions. So, now the key is to know that there is also a certain amount of time that will take place, certain amount of things that will happen before Mashiach comes. There's a war of Gog and Magog, there's all types of financial issues that have to happen, and so on and so forth. The point being is that not necessarily what's going to happen, at the time of Mashiach, after Mashiach comes, but rather how do we prepare ourselves for it? What's going to happen after Mashiach comes really is not relevant. The Rambam writes that you should not spend too much time learning about what's going to happen when Mashiach comes. Why? It will not help your servitude of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. All you should do is learn how to serve Hashem. Why? Because if you learn how to serve Hashem, whether the Mashiach comes tomorrow or he comes in 10 years is irrelevant. Why? You'll be prepared either way. So that means that if he comes, you'll be one of the few that he'll save. And that's really the most important part to learn about Mashiach. So with that being said, there's a few shurim that we've discussed Mashiach on. You could learn more information about it. Let's move on to the next question from the back. Bechavod.
Adoption. Now, when a couple can have children and they would like to adopt a boy and a girl,
Ken.
that's one part of my question. Do they fulfill the mitzvah of having a boy and a girl, like kids?
When a couple cannot have kids, or they don't want kids?
They cannot have kids and they adopt 2 kids, and a boy and a girl.
Okay. So we have a rule in the Torah that if someone is trying to fulfill a mitzvah, but he can't, not because he doesn't want to, and not even because he's not trying hard enough, but rather there are circumstances that are beyond his or her control that make the mitzvah impossible. but he wants to make that mitzvah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, listen to this, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because of his desire, but he shows his desire to do it. Not just he says it in his mind. He does whatever he does in order to try to do whatever he can. Is ishtadlut, HaKadosh Baruch Hu pays him and rewards him as if he fulfilled the mitzvah in a perfect way. Meaning, even if you try to do a mitzvah, sometimes you don't fulfill the mitzvah so good. Sometimes you don't fulfill it. Sometimes your mitzvah is like missing an arm or a leg. You say Birkat HaMazon, but you forgot which paragraph you're on. You give tzedakah, but you give the guy like $3, but you have 4,000 in your pocket. It's like one of those mitzvot. Like you did the mitzvah, but it's like almost like you're doing someone a favor. When you really want to do the mitzvah, but there's a circumstance that's beyond your control, that doesn't allow you to make that mitzvah, meaning, in essence, HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided that you are not going to make this mitzvah, you're not losing out on anything. In fact, you're winning. What are you winning? HaKadosh Baruch Hu pays you a full reward as if you fulfilled that mitzvah. That means that couple that cannot have children, if they tried their best to do everything possible to have kids, they prayed to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, they did kiruv, they did the things that are, they went to big tzaddikim, they, did all types of things for health reasons. They went to doctors. All types of things that you show your ishtadlut, show HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you really want to do it. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu simply did not fulfill their request. And they're trying. They're not giving up. They're trying. Even if the woman doesn't have a uterus, doesn't have ovaries, she should still try. Why? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one that decides. We are obligated for effort, not outcome. Outcome is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Sarai Menu. And all of the imaot, all of them, Sarah, Leah, Rachel, Rivka, all of them physically were not able to have kids. Physically were not able to have, none of them. They didn't have a uterus. They were missing the body part. They were missing a body part, meaning it's not like, it's not catching. No, there's no body part. It's like saying catch. The guy doesn't have hands. There's no body part. They all had kids. How do we know? We're here. We're their kids. Why? HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided that they're going to have kids. Why did he make them this way? Because he wanted their tefillot. That's what Chazal says. Chazal says he made them. He made the imaot, the matriarchs, that way to show them it's an impossible situation. Why? I wanted their tefillot. I wanted them to pray to show me how much they wanted to fulfill this mitzvah. So that means, number one, if somebody tries their best to fulfill the mitzvah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu rewards them for it already. Now, if they are adopting kids, that's an additional mitzvah. That's an additional mitzvah. It's not the same mitzvah. It's an additional mitzvah. Number one, it shows that they want to have kids. Number two, it's an additional mitzvah. What's this mitzvah? You're saving 2 neshamot. You're doing chesed for those 2 neshamot. You're saving a boy. You're saving a girl. It's a huge chesed that can help you get into Olam Haba. Why? Because the Gemara says there are 2 things that are going to help people get to Gan Eden, be saved at the time of Mashiach. 1 is Torah, 2 is Gemilut Chasadim. Chesed, adoption is a very, very big chesed. Now, one last addition, you could ask the follow-up. If you're adopting kids, if you're a Jew, you're obligated to adopt Jews. You're not allowed to go adopt Goyim if you can adopt a Jew. This is very important to know, because sometimes people go to the adoption, whatever they can get, they think they're looking for a puppy. Whatever is the one I can get, he's blonde, blue-eyed, okay, I'm going to get him. Yeah, but you don't look anything like him. Why do you want, no, he's going to be good looking, it's going to be easy to be a shidduch. Yeah, is he Jewish? No, but we'll make him Jewish. We'll take him to the rabbi, Go find a Jew. You know how many Jews are looking for parents? Go find a Jew. Yeah, but it's harder. There's more paperwork. You got to go there. So what? Go save a neshama. If this kid doesn't go to you, this Jew doesn't go to you, he may be going to a non-Jew. And then the kid, Hashem Yachem, what's going to happen to him? So if you have the ability, go and adopt a Jew. You don't have the ability. It's nowhere to be found. There's some miracle where there's no Jewish kids to be had. Then it's a different story. But do everything you can. If you're already in that point, do everything you can to adopt a Jew. Follow-up question. Chavod. I answered the follow-up question. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu already gave you the answer before. We even know what the question is. See, that's how amazing is Hashem. Open this little needle, open the whole world. So, adoption, by the way, is it's a lifelong chesed that the parents do, but I can tell you also that sometimes it's a lot more difficult than the parents ever imagined. And the reason why is because most adoptions take place when the kid doesn't really have much of an opinion. He's little, he's a baby, he's 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. He doesn't have like his own mind yet. He's cute, he's got a personality, but he doesn't have like, anything of his own. But once that kid grows up and he's 16 and 18 and 19, he's becoming his own person. She's becoming our own person. And all of a sudden, that cute little 4 or 5-year-old you adopted sometimes turns into a troll. Sometimes turns into a little Amalek. It says, you're not my Ima or Abba anyway. Don't tell me what to do. You're not really my parents. A person like that, by saying that, first of all, you're causing two things. Number one, you're breaking your parents' heart, because your biological parents are gone for whatever reason or another. Your real parents are these people that adopted you and have been taking care of you for the last 15 years. Biologically, it doesn't really mean very much. Who's the one that toiled to raise you all these years? So aside from breaking their heart, just so you know, if you know somebody that's ungrateful to their parents that adopted them, you should know that by being ungrateful, you are guaranteeing that your life will be cursed. Signed, God. You want a source? I'll give you a source. In fact, it's open. Shtabach Shemolad. Hashem knew you can ask this question, apparently. Kadosh Baruch Hu tells us in the book of Proverbs, chapter 17, verse number 13. Meshiv ra'a tachat tova, tamush ra'a mibeto. If one repays good with evil, evil will not depart from his house. Your parents, these people that are not your biological parents, they adopted you, they saved your life. Why? If it wasn't them raising you, paying for you to eat, paying for you to go to school, giving you all the things that you wanted, staying up at night when you were sick, taking you to this, doing that, doing everything for you. They didn't have to do it. They don't even know you. But now they took you on as if you were really their son. You're really their daughter. Instead of saying thank you, you return, you're not my parents. I don't have to do what you want to say. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're returning evil to someone that did you good. Evil will never leave your house. Because you returned evil for something good, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I hate you. Why? You're the opposite of me. Kadosh Baruch Hu gives good. You, what you do? You get good and you return bad. Such a person, HaKadosh Baruch Hu hates. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, there's many sources in the Torah, says HaKadosh Baruch Hu hates certain people. One of those people is ungrateful people. And it's a pasuk to prove it. Midah keneged midah. He doesn't say, listen, if you return evil, it's not good. No, he says, if you return evil, somebody did you a favor, and you return something bad, somebody lent you money, you use that money to go against them. Somebody adopted you, you are ungrateful. Somebody did you good, chesed, and you return bad, you're guaranteeing you're an enemy of Hashem now. Until when? Until you do tshuva. Unfortunately, I have a situation like this. I have a person that says she watched some of my shiurim. I don't really know how much she watched because it doesn't seem like she learned very much. But she says she resents her adopted parents. The parents that adopted her. The parents that adopted her when she was a baby, an infant, she was 1, 2 years old, she resents them. Why? They didn't ask her if she wanted for them to adopt her. They didn't consider her feelings. I'm dead serious. I have a person like this. She calls herself a frum Jew. She calls herself a religious Jew. She says, I'm not talking to these adopted people. They're not my parents. I'm looking for my real mom. I'm still hurt because my real mom left me and I'm looking for her 40 years ago. So these people, they're not really my parents. They raised me 20 years. I actually resent them for adopting me. Why? They didn't ask me for my opinion when I was 2 years old. I tried reasoning with this woman, but as you obviously already can understand, this is not a normal person. This is not a normal person. I tried providing sources, I tried providing Torah, I tried rationalizing. She actually turned me into an enemy. Now she doesn't stop sending me emails, trying to, first she insults me. The first 75% of every email, she insults me and tells me how terrible I am for not understanding how hurt she is for not being asked her opinion when she was 2 years old. And not understanding that a 2-year-old also has feelings. A 2-year-old has feelings, she says. A 2-year-old has an opinion. I told her, according to Torah, it's not possible. Why? The Ben Ish Chai says, you're almost a monkey until 6 years old. There's not much of a difference between a human being and a monkey until 6 years old. Not looks, not value, but your dot, your brain, even though you could be a smart kid, even though you're a cute kid, even though you're priceless, you don't have your own opinion yet. You don't have your real mind of who you're going to be for the rest of your life yet. You're a baby. All you care about is, somebody changing your diaper, eat, run around, and you don't want to go to sleep ever. That's it. That's all you care about. And even after 6 years old, not all kids develop at that age. Sometimes even longer. Sometimes they're already 30, still kids. But the point is, Abotai, to say that a 2-year-old has feelings, that's not a normal thing. But unfortunately, you know what? This is the new age mentality. There's a woman that goes on television on a regular basis. Not that I watch it, but people send me these clips of crazy people all the time. There's one psychotic woman. She says she wants to make it a law in America, obligating the parents to ask the permission of the babies of whether they're allowed to change their diapers. Because they're violating the baby's rights. This moron is on television on a regular basis. I saw one of the interviews, and the newscaster started laughing. He said, "Are you serious? The baby's going to tell you if he wants you to change him or not? You're going to ask the baby a permission to change his diaper?" This idiot is on television. This is who's educating the people today. You can't make this stuff up. So that means that's her teacher. This woman that's emailing me, that's probably her teacher. That's probably her role model. That's her hero. Ask a little baby for permission if you want to. Can I open your diaper and clean your poop? Can I please do it? I really want to. I really, my whole life, I've always desired to change diapers. Like, the level of stupidity that people have has reached new levels. And that's also in the Torah. Shlomo HaMelech says, "Ivelet Adam tesalev darko, ve'al Adonai yiz'af libo." The stupidity of man will steer him away from God, and then he gets mad at God for punishing him for it. That's what the pasuk means. Rabotai, you have to return good. Someone does good for you, you have to return good. Even if they don't do good for you, you still have to return good. Why? That's your obligation in the world. The Gaon Mivilna says to Rabbi Chaim Volozhin, he says, the purpose of a Jew in the world, the purpose of a person in the world is to do good for other people. That's his purpose. By doing good for other people, automatically everything else will improve. Why? You have to improve your midot in order to do good for other people. Automatically, if you're worrying about fulfilling this mitzvah of doing good for people, automatically that means you have to make yourself generous, even though naturally you're stingy as can be. You have to make yourself more calm, even though naturally you're an angry gremlin. You have to make yourself more, a person that's humble, even though naturally you think you are the world. When Michael Jackson sang, "We are the world," you thought he's singing about you. We are the world. He's talking about me. Reality is, Abudai, this pedophile got a lot of money for his stupidity. But there's some common sense. There's some common sense in some of the things he says. Why? Some people actually believe this stuff. They think they're the world. Now, it's important for everyone to know You're obligated to do good for people. That's actually part of the things that I want to talk about tonight, but let's see if you guys have any other questions. Chavod. If someone can transfer the mic so the camera can hear. I can hear you, but the camera needs to hear you too.
Is there a Russia or a type of person that you don't have to do good to?
Is there a type of Russia?
Aside from Amalek.
Okay, is there a type of wicked person that you don't have to do good for? So in your Siddur, you pray Amidah 3 times a day. Be'ezrat Hashem. We're supposed to pray Amidah 3 times a day. In the morning, in the afternoon, and at night. Now, Baruch Hashem, it's the Chachamim understood that it's difficult for people to sometimes come back to the Beit Knesset 3 times a day because of schedule, because of family, because of this. So what many Keilot do is they have the Mincha a few minutes before the Shkia, so you could do Mincha, and right as you finish Mincha, there's only a few minutes left that you could just, have a quick shiur, and then you do Arvit. Why? That way, you don't have to come back to the shul 3 times. You go to shul twice a day, you pray twice a day, you do everything all at once. So now, during that time, you have to say Amidah. Each tefillah has Amidah. Rosh Chodesh was today and yesterday. You had 4 Amidot. Why? Because you had to add Musaf. You have to add Musaf and Halil. In every Amidah that you're going to pray, you're going to see there's a mitzvah, laminim v'lamanshinim lo tihi tikva. People that are missionaries, people that are heretics, openly heretics, not from ignorance, but rather from intention, you pray that they will not have tikva. What does not have tikva mean? You're praying for them to die. When? As soon as possible. That's what you pray for 3 times a day. You pray for people that go against the Shem on a regular basis, actively, knowingly. You're praying for them to die as soon as possible. Not because you're mean, but rather because you're a Jew and you're good. How does praying for people to die make you good? A lot of people are disturbed by this. When I tell this to people, like, that's not nice. What kind of Jew are you? You're praying for people to die? No, you don't understand. This is actually chesed that you're praying for people to die. Why? Because if they die today, if they're missionaries today, and they die today, at least they'll be judged on the sins they do until today. But if they die in 3 weeks from now, that's 3 weeks more of sins. Maybe today they've made enough sins, well, they still maybe have a share of the world to come. But if they last another 3 weeks, they may make one sin, they make one Jew violate Shabbat, they're finished. So in essence, the quicker they die, the better. So if a person actively gets Jews away from God, not only are you not obligated to do anything good for him, you're not allowed to do anything good for him. The Rambam writes in Hilchot TeShuva, if a missionary comes to you and asks you, can you please help me do tshuva? You're not allowed to help him. Why? You can't trust him. Once he's a missionary, once he's a person that gets people away from Hashem, you don't know if he's real or not. And you're putting yourself in danger. The Gemara Masechet Avodah Zarah says 2 of the Chachamim had to go to a place, but they reached a fork, a road. There was a fork. In one direction, there was a building full of zonot, full of prostitutes. The other direction, there was a building, church, Avodah Zarah. So one of the Chachamim says, okay, let's go in the direction of the church. That way we're not enticed by the prostitutes. Watch your eyes, everything. Chacham says, no. Halacha is, you have to go by the prostitutes. Don't go next to the Avodah Zarah. Why? Because with the prostitutes, you could close your eyes, you could run away, you could make it fast, you could overcome your desires, pass it. But Avodah Zarah, even if you pass next to it, it infects you. Even if your friend, he's not teaching you about his Avodah Zarah, but he's your friend, you hang out with him, just by being friends with this guy, automatically you're going to be affected. Automatically you'll be affected. And one last example I'll give you. I had a woman tell me that some of our classmates are having questions about Judaism. I said, did they go to Jewish school? She goes, no, it's a Bet Yaakov. It's the best school. It's there. I said, so how do they have questions about Judaism? She said, I don't know where they're getting these questions, but they keep telling me they have questions about is God, is this, is that. It doesn't make any sense. If they're going to Bet Yaakov, you're teaching them Aleph Bet, you're teaching them Maaseh Bereshit, you're teaching them Noach, you're teaching Moshe Rabbeinu. How could they have questions about HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Little by little, we start delving. We go eventually start asking the kids. Let me ask you, give me some questions. Start asking questions. Where'd you get this question from? He goes, oh, my teacher. So what do you mean your teacher? You go to Bet Yaakov. He goes, yeah, my teacher told me. He goes, what teacher? Oh, this Christine. Who's Christine? She goes, oh, she's my history teacher. Oh, your history teacher is Christine? Your history teacher is a Christian? Your history teacher is a Catholic? She goes, yeah. So instead of teaching you history, she's teaching you Christianity. She goes, yeah, sometimes she says, oh, you know, you Jews are different than us, where we believe in Jesus, you believe in this. And what happens? All of this tum'ah went into the kids. Now the kids have questions about Judaism. Why? Because the school made a mistake and hired a Christian to teach the kids. I went and spoke to a couple of people in the academic world just a week ago or so. And I asked them, how come many of these yeshivot that I go to and I meet kids, many of them, almost all of them have Christian teachers for secular studies? What, there's no Jewish people that know math? There's no Jewish people that know science? There's no Jewish people? Of course, you have to teach a little bit of secular knowledge for the person to understand how to run, live in the world. You need to teach him the language. You need to teach him math. You need to teach him a little history so he knows he didn't come from a monkey. You need some stuff. Okay, fine. But why does a Christian or a Catholic missionary have to teach him this stuff? You can't find a Jew that knows Aleph Bet in English too. You can't find a Jew that knows math. Well, the biggest geniuses in the world in math are Jews. What happened? Oh, is an epidemic everywhere. Now, why? Because everyone is assuming that if we pay this person to teach history, he's going to teach history. He's not going to teach about J.C. Penney. He's not going to teach about Yoshke. Mistake. It's only a matter of time. Another group of kids in New York kept giving me atheistic questions. I said, don't you go to yeshiva? I said, yeah. I said, how come all of you, 15 kids, all of you are asking me heretic questions of grown-ups? Because it came from my teacher. I said, what do you mean your teacher? What kind of teacher do you have? He says, yeah, my teacher for science, he's atheist. I said, what do you mean your teacher is an atheist? How is an atheist teaching a yeshiva? He goes, he teaches science. I called the principal and said, do you understand you have 15 kids from your school that are almost becoming atheists because of you? He goes, why? I believe in God. He goes, yeah, but you are hiring somebody that's an atheist. He goes, oh, no, I told him not to tell him anything. He promised me he's not going to express his beliefs. I said, well, apparently he's expressing his beliefs, and for the last 5 months I'm struggling with these kids. I just never knew why until now. Baruch Hashem, he fired him. He fired him, but he still gave him 2 weeks. Still gave him 2 weeks to ruin the kids. Somebody like that, you throw him right in the garbage pail. Don't even say goodbye. So the point is, Rabotai, is unfortunately, sometimes we make common sense mistakes. But the Torah tells us that there are certain people you have to stay away from. If they're haters of the Torah, if they're missionaries, not only you don't need to pray for them, you don't need to help them in any way, but in fact, they are the people that you actually mention, even if you didn't know until now, you're mentioning for them to get destroyed. Why? Because they are a danger to themselves and a danger to the society. But if a person just simply is not religious, they're secular, but it's because of ignorance. Not because they hate God. They're just ignorant. They don't realize that a mechalel Shabbat has no olam haba. They don't realize that if they continue wasting seed, they have no olam haba. They don't realize that stealing is not only illegal in the country, it's also illegal in the eyes of Hashem. They don't realize, so they do all this stuff. A person like that, you're obligated to help this person. You're obligated to pray for this person. Gemara Masechet Brachot says, don't pray for those people to die, pray for them to do tshuva. So there's 2 types of people. If they're ignorant, pray to help them and you yourself help them. If they hate God, they hate the Torah, they hate Judaism, they try to get people away from Hashem, you pray for them to die. And in both cases, it's chesed. In both cases, it's true kindness. If you understand the depth of what's actually happening here. Because the guy that's doing wicked things, it's better that he dies. Why? Because at least his punishment will be less. Next question. In the back, you have something? Pass the mic to whoever's in the back. Same price. Question, same price.
You hear me?
I don't have to see you. I just need to hear you.
No, but that is working or not?
Yeah, what
All
you're
right.
saying to the mic goes into the camera, but I still need to hear you.
All right. My question is, I know in Pirkei Avot,
Okay?
it does say that most of the Jewish people have to have two really strong things, which is respect and to speak also with very clean word.
Okay.
Especially when they rabbi and when they put kippah on the head.
Okay.
And also when, they represent God. They have to choose, like, the best, like, word. Just for example, if I want to say, this thing is beautiful. There is many ways to say beautiful.
Right.
And let's say I want to say something else. Like, always to choose the better word to say the thing.
clean the language.
שלא יבואו אחריכם תלמידים וישתו מים רעים וימותו.
חכמים תיזהרו בדבריכם.
חכמים תיזהרו בדבריכם, שמא מתוכם ילמדו.
Okay.
אתה מבין
Okay,
מה
so
שאני
what's the
אומר?
question?
That's what I'm saying. So because it's very strong to speak in clean word. In any time that we want to say something, of my question for you, how can we try to reach to a level? Because let's say I grew up in a street and I work out in a lot of different places. And when I came to America, I just went to the street and do business on the street.
Okay.
And I saw and I recognized the language that they speak. And I said, wow, this is a good language. They actually speak in my language.
Okay.
But after a while, I started to become Choser B'Tshuva. And every time I used to try to use the F word and other type of word, the rabbis and the people in the area telling me, Ami, listen, in the shul you cannot even speak this word.
Okay.
Let's say, for example, I wanted to say to someone that is, not normal, I will choose the most way to say it and not to hurt them.
Okay.
Thing like this, you know what I'm saying?
So
to choose always.
the key. How do you do all of this?
How you do that? That's it. This
How
is
do
my
you do?
question.
How do you clean your language?
This is my question. How can we clean the language?
The Mishnah in Avot says, "Chachamim tizaru b'divrechem." Chachamim, you must be careful with your words, so your students do not end up in Gehenom. Now, this we actually had a whole 3-hour shiur about this Mishnah, maybe even longer. There's a few different commentaries on it. On one hand, it actually means that you have to be careful with the words that you choose and not be like some of the Chachamim that didn't explain themselves properly, and the students ended up becoming heretics because of it. Like Antigonos, Ish Socho, he said a few things, and a couple of his students didn't understand them properly, and they ended up becoming heretics, the Sadducees and Sadducees. They both became, they thought, because he says that you should serve Hashem without expecting a reward, they thought that there's no reward for mitzvot, so they said, okay, might as well not serve Hashem and serve something else, and so on and so forth. So the Mishnah says you have to be careful, you have to explain yourself very detailed, don't assume that people understand you, don't use things, a language that's above and beyond the crowd, and be very, very clear. There was a guy this guy named Dror Kasuto, that causes a lot of problems for Am Yisrael because he actively makes mistakes, but he knows he makes mistakes, but he doesn't care. But when I first discovered that he makes mistakes, he said something in one of his shiurim, and I contacted him. I told him, you pretty much told people that if the wife doesn't want to go to the mikveh, the husband's still allowed to be with her. This is Isur Nida, it's karet. He goes, no, I didn't mean that, I meant something else. I said, okay, so Chachamim, you have to tizaru b'divrechem. You have to correct yourself because what you're saying and what people understood, because I heard it myself, there's no way what you're telling me that you said. You have to correct yourself. You have to make a whole new shiur correcting yourself. What did he do? He made it worse. Instead of correcting himself, he made it worse. So as a person that doesn't care. And now, unfortunately, there are many people like that. And the reason why they don't care is because they have gava. They have pride, and they always think that they're right, even if they're wrong. So it's very, very important to be clear with what you say and don't assume that people understand you. You have to pretty much teach everybody as if they don't know anything from beginning to end. The more clear you are, the better your students will be. The other hand, also, there's a special mitzvah to have clean language. If you notice in the Torah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu speaks in a certain language that's very different than ours. For example, in the entire holy language, there is no word for the male or female member. For the private parts of a male and a private part of a female, there's no word for it in the Hebrew language. The words that you guys may know in your head, that's modern Hebrew. That's not Torah. That's Ben Yehuda made that up 100 years ago. That's not Torah. In Torah, there's no word for the male member. You're going to say, no, Gemara says erva. Erva means nakedness. Doesn't mean male member. We use it to refer to the male member, but it's not that. We use it also to refer to the female member. It's not that though. Why? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't use dirty language, and in essence, he wants us to learn from that. So when you want to do that, there are a couple of things you need to do. Number one, you need to learn a lot of Torah. A lot. How much is a lot? A lot. Every day, as much as possible. If you have 2 hours a day to learn 2 hours without talking to anybody unless it's Torah. 2 hours straight. No phone, no computer, no TV, no nothing. 2 hours with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You have 4 hours, learn 4 hours. You have 8 hours, learn 8 hours. You have to learn a lot every day, no matter what. Just like you eat every day, you have to learn Torah every day. And the reason why is because the Torah, if you learn serious musar, serious Torah, not just alachot, but actually how to fix your character traits, it softens you. And if it softens you and purifies you, you become disgusted from foul language. You become disgusted from the inappropriate language of the streets. Even though I used to say the F word every 2 seconds on Wall Street, that's the way you talk on Wall Street. In the Torah world, if I say the F word, I may go to hell for a long, long time. Why? That's the way it is. So the point is that as you learn more Torah, it softens your character. Second thing is, you're also going to learn alachot about this specific things of using foul language. Gemara says, someone that uses foul language, even if it was decreed for him to have 70 years of blessings, Hashem gets so upset when someone curses, he can turn all 70 years of blessings into 70 years of curses. Hashem Yerachem. Why? He said the F word one time. That's how bad it is in the eyes of Hashem. Why? Hashem says, it's the opposite of me. So the more a person learns Torah, it softens him, plus he understands there's rules. Third, learn the language. Not just the holy language, but learn the actual language of where you live in. If you live in America, learn English. Don't be a person that lives in America, but still speaking Spanish for 17 years, but you don't know a word of English. Or you speak Hebrew, you're here in America 20 years, you still don't know how to count to 10 in English. You have to learn the language. Take a course, get a book, do something to learn the language, to know how to get around. Most importantly, to know how to use clean words. Know that yes, you can say for intimacy, you can say the S word, which is not a provocative word, but it's not as clean as saying intimacy. Some people say, oh, kosher sex. Oh, it's not a problem, right? People say it's not a big deal. Yeah, it's not a big deal, but technically, if you could say intimacy, it's much cleaner, it's much more appropriate, and people will still understand what you mean. Meaning, if you learn the language, you'll learn which word to use, which word not to use. If you live in Spain, learn Spanish. If you live in, in Zimbabwe, learn the language they speak in Zimbabwe. Wherever you live, learn the language so you know the right vocabulary of how to speak cleanly. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is expecting it from you. A lot of people, especially Israelis, come to America, first words they learn are curses. Why? In New York, in the, different things like Kvodo says, the F word every 2 seconds in New York. Saying the S word every 1 second. It's so much so that some of these people go back to Israel and they say it, oh, this is bull this and this is bull that, thinking it's not a big deal. What? It's bull. It's the way. No, in America, that's a curse. That's a curse, what you're saying. It's not, it's foul language. So the point is that you need to learn the language in order to use appropriate language. Sometimes I've made mistakes myself. There's certain things that are appropriate language in one place, but in a different place, it's not appropriate language. For example, one of my students said that, he comes from the South. So in a place that he grew up, one of the words that I used one time was, where he comes from, it's inappropriate. But according to where I come from, according to many of the dialects in America, and English in general, it's actually not an inappropriate word. I'm not going to use it just because of his kavodo, for his kavod, but for the rest of the people I can say the word, it's not a problem. But the point being, Rabotai, is that don't use a language you don't need to. Use words appropriately, use your words carefully, and step number 5. And last one, if I counted correctly, last one, choose your word carefully and don't be abrupt. Let the people finish talking before you speak. Listen to the idea and think at least for a couple of seconds before you say what you say. People like to hear themselves talk so much, they don't even let other people talk. They just want to say something. Sometimes people make a comment on the videos that we make without even watching the video. They just decided that this video is going to say such and such because of the title or because of the picture that we chose. They decide they already know the entire video. It's such ridiculousness, but it happens every day to all of us. We don't listen to the other person. We don't let the other person speak. And we don't even let ourselves think. So we say things abruptly to the extent where our emotions take control of things and we lose our minds. We say things out of emotions instead of out of common sense. When you're emotional, you're much more likely to curse. When you're emotional, you're much more likely to yell. When you're emotional, you're much more likely to do things that are inappropriate. So it's very important to take it easy. If you think about what you're going to say for a couple of seconds, the world's not going to end. No, but I need to let him. Okay, 2 seconds is not going to, it's 3 seconds, even 1 minute. It's okay. It's going to be okay. The world is going to be okay if you wait a few seconds and think about your thoughts before you say them. Many times people ask me questions. Sometimes I answer relatively quickly. Sometimes it takes a while to answer, even if I know the answer. Why? Because I have to think about it to see if this answer is appropriate for that person. Because it's not always black and white. It's not always allowed, not allowed. Sometimes it's allowed for one person, not allowed for another person. So you have to think, who's this person? What do I know about them? What do I remember about them? And so on and so forth. You have to take your time. You have to be very patient. But if you're going to constantly talk back and forth and think that you're in some type of debate and it's the first one that speaks wins, you're going to make a lot of mistakes to the point where you're literally just destroying yourself. It's better you don't talk at all. That's why Kadosh Baruch Hu gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen double the amount of time that you speak. Next question. How about if you could bring the mic to the front, please. And by the way, learning English is very, very simple in comparison to learning Hebrew. It's worlds apart. So learning English, you take a little bit of time, 5 minutes a day. After a year or two, you'll be speaking English perfectly well. You may have an accent, but an accent doesn't make it incorrect. You just need to speak appropriate English or whatever other language that you have. Yes?
How big is the Livyatan?
How big is the Livyatan? The Sefer Bereshit has almost an endless amount of midrashim, because some of the most vague things, some of the most extraordinary mystical things that we could learn comes from Bereshit, comes from the creation of the world. And many of them say that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, there were certain creatures that were created then that don't exist today. Like, for example, Taninim Agdolim means huge reptiles. Huge reptiles means dinosaurs. That was one of the first things that really interested me in the Torah, because I realized that there are dinosaurs. It's just not the same thing like the scientists say. Scientists think that they're billions of years old and they looked certain ways. Torah describes them relatively differently, but nonetheless, they did exist. But unlike what scientists say, where they existed at a time before man, dinosaurs actually existed at the same time as man. There was dinosaurs in the world and people in the world at the same time. And the beautiful part is that there are many, many scientists that have come to this realization. And the reason why is because they found different archaeological findings where they saw that in Zimbabwe and in other places in South America, there are actually drawings in caves of people and dinosaurs. So say, how do the people have a picture of the dinosaur here? Meaning that they knew what they looked like. How did you know what they looked like? Scientists thought that they discovered it 300 years ago when it was they dug on the ground, they saw a really big bone, and then little by little discovered the whole world of dinosaurs. But in reality, the dinosaurs were in the world at the same time as people. Now, of course, there are many heretics that will want to tear my head off for saying what I'm saying, but good luck to you doing that. There's more proof to what I'm saying than anything that other people say. Now, as far as one of the huge creations was the animal called the Livyatan. Now, Kadosh Baruch Hu decided that initially, even though there was two creations, there's a male and a female, he killed one of them. He killed one of them, and the reason why is because he did not want them to procreate, because he knew that if they procreated, they would create huge creatures that would destroy the world. So he had only one, and it actually says in Tehillim, also mentions it in the Sefer Eiyov, that Livyatan is Hashem's pet. Hashem plays with it, whatever that means. Hashem plays with the Livyatan. And the Livyatan is going to be the feast that we are going to eat at the time of Mashiach. Those that survive, those that do TeShuva, they were going to eat the Livyatan. So there are many midrashim. Now, as far as the size of the Livyatan, there are several midrashim that discuss it. One of them that I remember reading says that there is a opinion that the Livyatan is 974 miles long. Meaning the Livyatan is bigger than most countries. It's enormous. So now you're going to say, wait a minute, if it's so big, how come we can't see it? Opposite. It's so big, it looks like it's a piece of land moving. Better yet, you should also know that over 71% of the globe is water. We don't even know everything about the land. The 29% that we live in, we don't know everything about it also. We don't know even anything about half of it. We haven't even explored half of the land. Needless to say, we haven't explored the entire 71% part of the water. Meaning that it could be in plain sight. We just haven't been merited to see it. When you see it, you're not going to be so happy. I can promise you that. The Livyatan is a very interesting creature. He's not going to be friendly to you, though. Unless you're tzaddik. But the point is, Rabotai, is that it's very, very big. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is reserving it for the time of Mashiach. There are some midrashim that say it's smaller or bigger. But point being is that we're only going to find out later on. But it's enormous nonetheless. Some even say it's not really an actual physical being, but rather it's an angel. Some say there is an opinion that it is an angel, it's not actually a physical being. Point being is that there are certain midrashim and certain things in the creation that we're simply not going to have the answer to until Mashiach arrives. The only thing we have answers to are things that actually matter to our day-to-day life. Yes, next question. Ken?
That one of the worst things to do is to get angry, right?
Ken?
So what if you have anger issues, like real anger management, and you can't help it? Do you still get the avera?
So the first thing to understand is that to say that I have a certain deficiency and I can't help it is at least this dust of kfirah. If not kfirah mamash, it's dust of kfirah. Meaning, it's saying that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created you just to sin. What is this like? Baruch Hashem, everybody here has parents. And I'm assuming everybody here knows that their parents love them. Now, every normal parent that's a human being, not a divine being, human being, is never going to give something, give a task, give an obligation to their child if they know for sure that the child cannot do it. Meaning, there's no parent in the world that will tell their 5-year-old kid to lift an 18-wheeler truck over his head. Why? because that would mean that the parent hates the kid because he's setting up the kid to fail. He knows that the kid cannot lift an 18-wheeler truck over his head, so why even bother telling him to do it? So that means that if the parent knows that the kid can't do something, he's not going to obligate the kid to do it. He's not going to say, either lift the 18-wheeler car or the airplane over your head, or I'm going to punish you. He's not going to do that. Why? Because he knows that there's no way that the kid can achieve this. Needless to say, if the parent, which is the creation, knows not to treat his child this way, the creator, the real Abba in Shamayim, is also not going to do this to his son or his daughter. He's never going to tell you, do something that you really can't do. If he says in the Torah, you're not allowed to be angry, that means that you have the possibility, the ability to not be angry. That doesn't mean that it'll be easy for you, because you could have a predisposition of anger. You could be an angry person. I myself am an angry person. Moshe Rabbeinu was an angry person, le'avdil. I could be the dust of Moshe under Moshe Rabbeinu, maybe. But the point being that Moshe Rabbeinu, as we learned last week, Moshe Rabbeinu was born with the worst midot in the world. All of the bad midot that exist, Moshe Rabbeinu had them. The reason why he became Moshe Rabbeinu, Or HaChaim HaKadosh says, is because he fixed his midot. He overcame his midot because of his Yirat Shamayim. That's what Or HaChaim HaKadosh says. So now, Kadosh Baruch Hu says, don't be angry, don't be stingy, don't be arrogant, don't be this, don't be that, be this, be that, okay? So that means that you can do it, even though it's hard for you. So, if he says that you can do it, that means you can. Does it mean it's easy? No. But that's why there's a reward for it. So how do you do it? You have to learn about it. You have to learn that it's not good to be angry. You have to learn how to overcome your anger. You have to learn how to control your anger. And that takes some time. There are many, many Sfarim in the Torah that discuss these issues of how to work on each and every single midah. Unfortunately, most of them are in Hebrew, but nonetheless, there are literally millions of Sfarim. Millions of Sfarim discussing different aspects of the Torah. You could start reading today and read 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for 1,000,000 years, and you still would not finish the Sfarim that are in this world today. That's how many Sfarim there are available for Am Yisrael. Point being, there are surely Sfarim that will teach you how to overcome your anger. One of the most critical things to learn is Musar. Why? Because Musar is overall character development that will teach you how to soften your character and how to control yourself and how to not be an animal that acts on impulse. Animals act on impulse. Human beings are supposed to act based on what they think, based on what their brain says they're supposed to do, not based on what their impulse and what they feel like doing. So, when a person learns Musar, a person develops their character, softens themselves, realize he has to be more kind, realize he has to be more gentle, realize he has to be more patient, he's going to learn different tools of how to do it. A few simple tools that you can do right away, that tomorrow, already tomorrow, you're less angry. Already tomorrow. Some things will take you a long time, but already tomorrow you could be less angry. Number one, before you say anything, if you're naturally an angry person, before you respond to everyone, if somebody said something to you that mamash makes your blood boil, like instead of answering him, you rather take his head and put it on a pedestal, make it maybe a camera or something. Before you answer him, say, let me get back to you in a minute. Wait 1 minute. 1 minute. Look at your watch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 60 seconds. Guess what? In 60 seconds, you're already at least 50% less angry. Why? You waited. It gave you enough time to digest the information, realize it may not necessarily be as bad as it sounded, realize that maybe you shouldn't respond that way, realize that there are people watching, realize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is watching, realize that it's wrong to do this. You're realizing a lot of things in a minute. Automatically, you do this, you're much less angry. Much less angry. At least 50% less angry. 2, don't be so sensitive. Don't take things so seriously. If somebody called you a name, so what? Remember, in the end, they're going to become lunch for the worms and the maggots. Why do you care about their opinion so much? People get offended by people's comments all the time. Oh, you said this about me. So what? He said this about you. So what? He's going to be lunch. He's going to be a McDonald's sandwich one day for the maggots. What do you care about his opinion if he calls you names? If he's a good person, he's a tzaddik, and he said something to you that's awful, that means there's something wrong with you. Not him. But if he's an awful person and he's calling you names, she's calling you names, why do you care about their opinion? Third and last one, you should know that the Mikubalim say in the Reshit Chokhmah and several other places that someone that takes an insult and does not respond becomes partners with Hashem. Ve'olam omed al blima. Just like in the Sefer Eov, HaKadosh Baruch Hu talks to Eov, and Eov says, this world, he has complaints and so on and so forth. But then the book of Eov says, what is the world standing on? Ha'olam omed al blima, on nothing. There's nothing that's holding the globe, keeping it spinning at 1,600 miles per hour approximately. Where if it would stop spinning, we're in a lot of trouble. Where if it spun the other way, we're in even more trouble. Where if it went 1 degree closer to the sun, we're all going to burn to death. If it goes 1 degree further from the sun, we're all going to freeze to death. Meaning, what is this globe, this sphere that's spinning in the same place at 1,647 miles per hour? What's doing it? Nothing. Other than HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's no pole that's holding it. You go try to spin a basketball on your finger. You may be able to do it, but guess what? You're going to have to keep moving it on your own. If you stop after a while, the basketball is going to fall. And either way, you're going to have to hold it with your finger at least. Something's going to have to hold it. The globe that's much, much bigger than the basketball, nothing's holding it other than the HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And you can't say it's gravity. There's no gravity. So now, Hashem says, the world stands on nothing, meaning I'm holding the world. But who helps me, if you will? If you will, who helps me hold the world? Someone that acts like me. Who acts like me? Someone that's insulted and doesn't respond right away. Doesn't respond at all. Why? People insult Hashem 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, since the beginning of creation, and unfortunately probably until the end. There are people that have entire websites against Hashem. There are people that have entire lifestyles that are against Hashem. There are people that literally say they believe in God, but they have Buddha statues in their living room. There are people that go against Hashem actively. Hashem doesn't respond to them right away. He gives them the freedom of choice. He let them do whatever they want to do. Eventually they're going to have to pay the bill. But he gives them the opportunity to make the right or the wrong decision. He says, if you act like me, you don't respond to your wife after she insults you, you don't respond to your husband right after he gives you a reason to respond to him because he's insulting, you don't respond, you're like me. You'll be my partner, you're holding up that second that the world is spinning is because of you. So that's the third thing that you should know. When you're angry and you don't respond, you actually have a very, very precious merit. We should all say thank you to you because the world stood because of you. And there are many, many zgulot, people that, many stories of people that had miracles performed in their life because they got a blessing from someone that contains their anger. Someone that's insulted publicly and doesn't respond. If you ever see it, you go to him, you ask him, please, you ask her, please give me a bracha. Why? You're partnered with Hashem. Please give me a bracha. It's a very famous story. Rav Kanievsky told the guy, only way you're going to have kids is if you get a blessing from somebody who doesn't respond after somebody insults him. This guy says, I'm going to find somebody like this. He goes, if you want, Hashem's going to send it to you. One day he went to a wedding, and one of the people that came there got insulted like mamash, something disgusting. The guy was cursing him, insulting him, and he wasn't responding. Everybody thought he was going to lose his mind, probably kill the other guy. Not responding. He's going on and on and on and on and on. After the guy finished his steam, few minutes of insulting this guy, he stopped, waiting for the guy to respond. As he was about to respond, this guy that hasn't had a kid in his life, he's waiting for a kid for 15 years, never had a kid, jumped in front of you on his knees. Please, don't respond, please, don't respond. He goes, who are you? What do you want from me? I don't even know you. He goes, no, please, I beg you, don't respond to him. Don't respond to him, I'll do anything. Okay, fine, I won't respond. I won't respond. What do you want from me? Why? He goes, okay, now give me a blessing. What? Me give you a blessing? He goes, please give me a blessing. I'm going to have a kid. I said, okay, Bezat Hashem, you can have a kid. He had a kid that year. He had a kid that year. He goes, why'd you say it? He goes, Rav Kanievsky told me that's his gula. You find somebody that's publicly insulted and doesn't respond, go ask him for a bracha. Why? They're partners with Hashem. That's what Sfarim HaKadoshim say. Next question. The mic, whoever has the mic, please forward it to the front. Someone has the mic? If somebody give me water, please.
Hashem chose us because we are. Why did He choose us? We're the it seems like we're the most difficult.
Or no. We are, not seems. We are. Hashem created us.
So what's the point?
Most people think that Am Yisrael is like all the other nations. But the reality, Am Yisrael, whether you were born a Jew or you converted to Judaism, you're not considered like the other people. You're in essence considered a different species. In every way possible. Meaning, just like you have a lion, he's in the same family as the tiger, to some extent, right? And the snake is in the same family as, let's say, I don't know, one of these, these big lizards you have here in Florida. These little dragons that you have here. They're in the same family, right? So, a Jew and a non-Jew, they're not the same species. It's not the same family. It's different things. They look the same. They act, sometimes act the same. But they're not the same species. This was created in Mount Sinai. Now, when Kadosh Baruch Hu instilled the neshamot into Bnei Israel, when they accepted the Torah, they got it for a certain reason. They got it not because of their righteousness, as it says in Sefer Dvarim and many other places. They didn't get to become the chosen people because they were large or smart or funny. They got it because of their forefathers, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. That's why they got it. Hashem chose us because of the righteousness of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Because we are connected to them, we have the right to serve Hashem at the highest possible level. But that also obligates us. If you are an average person and you feel like walking around with shorts and a tank top, no problem. Most people are not going to say nothing to you. If you're an average woman and you want to work for the sanitation department, cleaning out the garbages, no problem. You probably make good living, maybe $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 a year. No one's going to say nothing to you. If you're an average person and you want to walk dogs for a living, pick up their poop so the neighbors don't complain, no problem. You can make good living doing it. I remember when I used to have a dog in New York, I used to have to pay my dog walker $150 a week. Make good walk. You walk 10 dogs at a time, you're making thousands of dollars. Guy opened a whole company out of it. No problem. You want to pick up dog poop for a living? No problem. No one's going to say nothing to you. But if you are the son of the king or the daughter of the king, you do not have the right to pick up poop for a living. You do not have the right to clean garbages for a living. You do not have the right to walk around with a t-shirt or a tank top and shorts. Why? You're the son of the king. The king says, you represent me. You represent me. You have to look like me. You have to act like me. Why? You're representing the palace. You have to walk around like a rich person. You have to walk around like a prince. You have to walk around like a princess. You have to act a certain way. You have to be a certain way. If you're the king's son, you don't have the ability. You're not allowed to go work for any sanitation department. You could buy the sanitation department if you want, but you can't work in a sanitation department. I'm talking about a physical king. Now, Am Yisrael, the fact that we are the descendants of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, which the Gemara in Masechet Yoma says they actually fulfilled all of the mitzvot even before Matan Torah. They already had access to the entire oral Torah. And they fulfilled all of the mitzvot of the Torah before Matan Torah. Still, they did not keep Shabbat 100%. They kept it 99% because they knew that the Torah says that unless you are 100%, you're part of the nation that accepted the Torah at Mount Sinai, you're 100% Jew, you're not allowed to keep Shabbat. So, Avraham Avinu would violate Shabbat by creating a cow every Shabbat, as Zohar says. The point being is, because Avraham Avinu, Yitzchak Avinu, Yaakov was so extraordinary, and you are their descendants, you are, in essence, a different species than the rest of mankind. Even if you converted last week or yesterday, or you're going to convert tomorrow or in 10 years from now, whenever you are, the second that Jewish neshama enters your body, you no longer have the same freedom to do whatever you please as the rest of mankind. Why? You're of a different species. You're of a different family. You're now part of the chosen people. You now have a certain obligation. Now, because our nature is to always want the things that we can't get, naturally our evil inclination will always want us to do the opposite of what we're supposed to do. Because our abilities are superior to others. This is not a racism versus the rest of mankind. This is reality. There's nothing racist about it. You look at even people that have done research on discoveries and achievements by Jewish people versus the rest of people in the world. There's no comparison. Science would virtually not exist without Jewish people. Mathematics would virtually not exist and develop without Jewish people. The Nobel Prize winners that exist in the world, that have actually people that have won the Nobel Prize winners, per capita, no nation has won more Nobel Prizes than the Jewish people. Per capita. Number-wise, obviously we have America, but the point is per capita, no one like the Jewish people. Discoveries in the world, no one discovered more than the Jewish people. Contributions to the world, no one contributed to the world more than the Jewish people. That's just a reality. Why? We have a bigger obligation, so Hashem uses us for certain things. We are not only obligated to serve Him, but also help the rest of mankind get closer to Him, have a better world. So it's not just about fulfilling Torah and mitzvot and going to a kollel, it's also building a world that helps society. You're not allowed to steal from Jews, but you're even more not allowed to steal from non-Jews. You have to be good to Jews, you have to be good to non-Jews as well. So the point is that superiority, if you will, doesn't make you better. It gives you a bigger responsibility. That now that you are giving more tools, you have to use them accordingly. And if you don't, your punishment is much more dear. If a person is given by his boss, listen, we have a petty cash box. Make sure that no one overuses it. Anyone that wants to buy lunch, you'll give them whatever money they want to buy lunch. You have a petty cash box. I'm going to put $1,000 in it, but make sure that it's filled all the time, and so on and so forth. Anytime somebody wants to buy lunch, they don't have something on them. Hey, listen, can you do me a favor? Give me $10 from the box, and you're managing the petty cash box. If you make a mistake, and one guy says, listen, I want to go to lunch with the guys, give me the whole $1,000. And you give it $1,000, the boss is not going to be happy with you. But most likely, he's probably not going to fire you. If you're a decent person everywhere else, most likely he's not going to fire you. You didn't bankrupt the company. You made a mistake. It's terrible. You're a fool. But in essence, it's not the end of the world. You made a mistake. Okay, fine. If the rest of what you do is okay, most likely you're going to get another chance. Most likely. Why? Because your mistake was still contained. On the other hand, if the same boss gives you a $5 billion trading account, and he says, listen, only buy bonds with this account, which are from treasuries, from the U.S. government, that the maximum risk we're going to take is 1%, and so on and so forth. Don't buy anything else, just this. And you decide to go start buying Pokemon cards. And you go buy some dresses for your wife, and you go start buying day trading stocks and penny stocks and bitcoins and chairs for different people, and you go start buying cars for people. and you go through $1.5 billion in a week. Now, that boss not only is going to fire you, you're going to jail for a really, really long time. Why? You were given a bigger responsibility. Hence, the damage for violating that responsibility is much greater. So, when people get offended that you say that Jews are superior in many cases, first of all, it's not generally everywhere. There are many, many non-Jews that are fantastic human beings, many non-Jews that are amazing, many non-Jews that are geniuses, but, nonetheless, that doesn't change the facts. That doesn't change the generality. But it also doesn't change the point. The point is, Jews have been given a certain gift, but also a certain responsibility because of that gift. And that's what a Jew needs to think about. It's not that, I have this, and this, and that, and therefore I can do whatever I want. No, it's the opposite. The fact that you're the king's son or king's daughter, means that you are now have to care more about society than the average person. You can't just ignore the fact that there is hunger in your street. You have to care about people. Next question.
For those who don't understand what you mean by a species, can you elaborate? Because some people think you mean that they're totally different, like in the physical sense, different race. Okay, maybe race, I don't know. But it's like a sensitive word that people who are, indoctrinated in public schools, and so species means a certain thing. So,
They want to hold
when
me
you
for the
say
word, saying, it's as if it's not a human being. No, for those people, those types of people usually don't watch many of my shurim. Usually they watch one, they get angry, and then they stop. In essence, when we talk about Klal Yisrael versus the rest of the world, we're talking about the one thing that will exist forever, which is your neshama. One thing that has existed in the past, and one thing that's going to exist in the future. Your body is clothes that's going to become lunch one day for worms and maggots. We put no value whatsoever on this body. In fact, the more righteous a person is, the more he abuses his body because of how much he's toiling and working to serve Hashem. Many of the tzaddikim apologize to their body before they when they're older. Why? Because of how much damage they put their body through serving a Kadosh Baruch Hu, staying up really late, sleeping very little, not fulfilling every desire that the body had, and so on and so forth. The point being is that when you compare the neshama of a Jew versus the neshama of a non-Jew, we're talking about worlds apart. So, the Jewish people are the only people that don't have a look. As I said in the shiur on Hoshana Rabbah, many people think that Jewish people have a look. This only means that you're uneducated. Because Jewish people do not have a look. There are two proofs. One proof. The Sfarim HaKadoshim, one specific one is the Zohar Kadosh, says that the look of a Jew is influenced by the air that he breathes, the atmosphere he breathes. Meaning that wherever the Jew lives, over time, that Jew will start looking like the people of that place. Second proof that is easy to prove today is because of technology, pretty much every point of land that has a civilization has a cameraman, because anyone that has a phone is now officially a cameraman. And Baruch Hashem, we've had the merit to meet many Jews from around the globe, and we see that this, what it says in the Torah, is actually 100% fact, not theory. I have students in Nigeria that are 100% black, that look like the black people of Nigeria, but these people are 100% Jews, just like you and me. I have people in India, Keilah, 3,000-4,000 people. They look like the Indian people, the Hindu people. They live in India. They don't look like you and me. And guess what? They're 100% Jews, just like you and me. they put on tefillin, they have a bet knesset, they eat kasher, and so on and so forth. Some more religious, some are less religious, but nonetheless, the look, the physicality of the people, if you saw them in the street without a kippah, you would think this person is, for sure, Hindu, he's from India. It's not like you would think, oh no, he looks Jewish. There is no Jewish look. Further, you go to Manipur, another part of India. You see that there's a different type of looking India. They look a little slightly different, more Asian looking. I have a bunch of students over there. We sent them a few thousand CDs that they learn our Torah over there. They look like them. I have people in Australia. They look like them. I have people in Israel. They look like them. People in Europe look like them. People in America look like them. People think that because they saw Woody Harrelson and Seinfeld on TV, that's the Jewish look. No, that just means you watch TV and you watch American TV. That's all that means. That means that Jews look like that. You go to Israel, you're going to see every type of Jew. You go to different parts of America, you're going to see every type of Jew. You go to different parts of the world, you're going to see every type of Jew. There is no Jewish look. This is the reason why it's actually ridiculous when Jewish people complain about people making fun of their looks or them not fitting in because they look a certain way. Like I mentioned, Hoshana Rabbah, this one guy that calls himself Manishtana, and a few other people that are Jewish, that their 15 minutes of fame is complaining about prejudice and racism within the Jewish world. Because they're black, or they're green, or they're yellow, or they're whatever they are, they're burgundy, or they're Sephardic, or they're Ashkenazi, or whatever they are, somebody's making fun of them. Guess what? They're not making fun of you because you're black. They're not making fun of you because you look Asian. They're not making fun of you because you look like me, like you just came from Hamas. They're not making fun of you like you look like a piece of white paper that came from Europe. No, they're not making fun of you because of that. You know why they're making fun of you? Because God said so. That's why they're making fun of you. God said so. I want you to go make fun of him. Why? I want to see what he does. I want to see if he still loves me after people make fun of him. I want to see what he does after people make fun of him. Because he looks like he's from Yemen, but in reality he's from Tripoli. He looks like he's from Tripoli, but in reality he's Russian, but he just looks like he's from... They're making fun of you because I said so. Now, if you're going to take this and use this as your 15 minutes of fame, you're going to complain about it on the internet all day, you're going to talk to people about it, you're going to want special privileges because you're darker skin or lighter skin or whatever skin you are, you, my friend, are a fool. An ignorant fool. You not only think that Jews have a look, which means you have absolutely no knowledge whatsoever of Torah, but on top of it, you have no belief in HaKadosh Baruch Hu running the world. And last but not least, you're letting the Reshaim win by letting them occupy so much time of your mind, so much time of your energy, so much of your life by being consumed with this. If they don't like you, they make fun of you for whatever reason, go somewhere else. Who says you have to go there? Go somewhere else. Go find new friends. The Rambam says if you're surrounded by Reshaim, go to the desert. Make your best friend the scorpion and the snake. Not literally go to the desert, but in essence make your life a desert. Only have limited people that enter your life, limited people that you allow into it. You don't have to be friends with everybody. Everybody thinks that, you go to a community and everyone's supposed to love you. The Mashiach would come already if that happened. Sinat Chinam has been going on for a couple thousand years. Unfortunately, it hasn't been solved. It hasn't even been touched. The liberalism of the world where, no, we accept everyone is complete bogus. No one accepts everyone. Most people do not accept everyone. The only people that accept everyone are tzaddikim. Why? They don't see color. They don't see color. They don't see size. They don't see any of that stuff. They see neshama. Who are you inside? And this brings me to the few points that I want to mention. Rabotai Karim, one of the problems that we have today is that we're so consumed with our own desires, with our own wants, with how people view us, with what people think of us, that we forget that we are part of a people, that we forget that we're servants of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Whether you like it or not, you're a servant of Hashem. You could just simply be a good one or a bad one. Some servants serve Hashem like they're supposed to, so they're considered tzaddikim, tzaddikot. They're good servants. Some don't serve Hashem like He wants to. They do whatever they want. So Hashem says, okay, they're bad ones. They're going to get punished for it eventually. But either way, you're a slave to Hashem, whether you like it or not. Question is, how much are you going to get paid at the end? You're going to get paid a few slaps, a few punches, a little bit of fire, or you get paid an infinite of good. That all depends on how good of a servant you are. But nonetheless, you live in His world. He doesn't live in your world. You're part of His nation. He's not part of your nation. If you're so consumed with what people think of you and what color your skin is and how much money you make and whether you have a big house and whether you're Sephardi or Ashkenazi or you read this way, you read that way, or you know Hebrew or you don't know Hebrew or you know that, all of that stuff is bogus. The only thing you need to know is how to serve Hashem by following His Torah. That's the only thing you need to know. By focusing on everything else, you're ruining your own life. And what happens is you get to a point where you're so self-absorbed and consumed with your own craziness that you call a life that you forget that there other people live in the world. And what's the outcome of it? We live in a generation of careless people. People could literally live next door neighbor to each other, never even saying hello. People could literally live on the same block for 15 years but never know that what your name is. I had a guy call me a few months ago. He says, listen, I need your help. I need to learn what to do. My mom died. I said, okay, fine. What happened? He goes, no, we found her dead. I'm like, what do you mean you found her dead? He goes, well, I went to her apartment, went to visit her, and I found that she was dead already. I said, well, she died that day? He goes, no. She was probably dead for a few weeks. Hashem Yirachem. The only reason they discovered it is because of the stench that comes from the body after it dies. The neighbors started smelling. Said, yo, listen, there's something wrong with this house. Something came. They started discovering, see a dead person on the floor. Why? Because it's stench. Rabotai, this is happening almost weekly. Am Yisrael sometimes is so consumed with itself, we forget. Humankind in general is so consumed with ourselves that your next door neighbor could die and no one would ever say, you know what? I haven't seen Steve leave his house in a week. No one knows. No one cares because everyone cares about, they didn't give me my chair in the shul because I'm black. Oh, no, they didn't give me a parking spot because I'm not rich enough. Oh, no, they didn't give me an aliyah because I'm Ashkenazi or I'm Sephardi. We're so consumed with ourselves. We're so egotistical. We're so everything about ourselves. We can literally have a next door neighbor die and we don't even notice it. Kid doesn't show up to school for 3 weeks. No one asks a question. No one says, wow, where's David? I haven't seen David in a month. Maybe somebody should check it out. No one does that anymore. You could literally pass by each other without saying hello. Why? Who cares about him? Guy shows up to your community. Nothing. No, listen, this is not. Nothing. Unfortunately, sometimes secular people are much more friendly than religious people. You go to some religious communities, oh, what? You're not Chabad? Oh, shake it. Go. Oh, what? You're not Breslov? Oh, you're not this Chassidut? Oh, you're not this one? You're not that one? Oh, you don't believe in this rabbi? You don't believe in that? You're not exactly the same as them. I was like, oh, okay, so you're like a half a goy. No, I'm a Jew. What are you talking about? Oh, so, yeah, you could say that. Bless your heart. Bless your heart. You could say that. In so many words, you're saying you're an idiot. You think you're not like me. You can't be. Why? Because you're not wearing the hat this way. You're not wearing the hat that way. Your beard is not this way. Your beard is not that way. Your jacket is not this way. You're not jacket. It's all nonsense. We're all so consumed with ourselves that we don't see the world around us. Now, the problem is, Rabotai Karim, is that the Gemara in Masechet Nedarim says that anyone who doesn't visit the sick is considered as if he spilled blood. It's considered as if he's a murderer. You know somebody is sick. Your friend, family. You know he's sick. Not sick like he has the cold and he's coming back tomorrow. Sick. Something happened. you don't visit him, and you have the ability to visit him, there's a very big rebuke against you in Shamayim. Why? Because to be a Jew, you have a responsibility to bring good to the world. The world means your spouse. The world means your children. The world means your friend, your colleague, your employee, the storyteller, everyone. You're supposed to bring good to the world. You're supposed to care about other people, not be so selfish and consumed with your own desires all day. Oh, I'm not going. Why? You're not going where I want. Yeah, but you said you wanted to eat, right? Yeah, we're going to a restaurant. Okay, yeah, but you're not going to the restaurant I want. Yeah, but there's 18 people. 17 chose that restaurant. Why couldn't just go, no, if it's not the restaurant I want, I'm not going. You know how many times that happens? A whole group of people want to go one place. One guy doesn't want to go. The whole thing breaks up. Why? He ruins the whole thing. There's an argument. Oh, you know what? I don't feel like I'm not hungry anymore. I'll just eat in my house. Why? Who wants to deal with this? Why? Because he's so consumed with himself. She's so consumed with herself that if you don't choose her choice, it's not good enough. It's not good. Problem is that sometimes it can get really bad to the point where you could completely ignore reality. That it starts becoming admirable when you see someone helping somebody poor. How many of us have seen these videos that have gone tens of millions of likes and views and so on, simply because some average guy decided to give a few dollars or decided to give a meal to some homeless guy? And the news makes a whole thing of it. Wow, what a tzaddik, he fed the homeless. Wow, what an amazing person. He gave the poor guy $100. Wow, what an amazing person. He let the ducks cross the road. Wow, he's so special. We're going to put him on TV. Why? Because he invited somebody to go and be sheltered so he's not rained on. And they make such a big deal out of what? Simple kindness that's expected from you anyway. You're supposed to do that stuff. You see a homeless guy, you have the ability to help him, help him. There's no special credit for it. The problem is, Rabotay Karim, that we've become such a careless people, a careless nation, a careless civilization as a whole, a careless species, that simple gratitude or generosity or kindness has become like an anomaly, has become something like, wow, wow, you helped a poor person by giving them a job? You're special. We're going to have you on every single news station for the next 3 weeks so the whole world finds out how great you are. Now, as a side note, it's important to know that when someone does something good, we actually do need to publicize them, even if they don't want to. The Rashba lived about 750 years ago. Rabbi Shlomo ben Aderet says that you're actually obligated to publicize someone that does a big chesed and people don't know. Someone does a big good to the people and people don't know it. You need to do it. You need to let people know. Why? He says for 2 reasons. One, this person, once he sees that everyone's recognizing him, he says, wow, chazaku baruch, good job, that's what you did. You saved that boy. Wow, you saved that girl. Wow, you did this. All that credit is going to give him, what? Motivation to do it again. Motivation to do it again. So that's good. Second reason, it'll teach others to follow his footsteps. So publicizing kindness is a good thing. That's not a problem, publicizing those kind people that gave the homeless guy money. That's good. The problem is that there's not a zillion of those stories. That's the problem. The problem is that it is a story because it's so rare. There are some people that literally have made, a fortune of money, built empires based on what? making videos of how careless people are. They make somebody put on a costume as if they're dying in the middle of the street. You know, the acting, the clothes, and so on. And they're like, they're look like they're dying in the middle of New York just to see how many people help them. And the despicable behavior of people makes you mamash want to vomit. You almost wish that you were a lion that can eat these people instead of a human being. Like, you see these people, they see the guys, tell him, please, I'm dying. He's acting, but they don't know he's acting. Well, they walk over him. Not like they don't see it. They see the guy, they hear him. They literally walk over him. Like, ugh. No care in the world the guy's dying. Why? His color of skin, his nationality, his financial stature, whatever excuse people have to make themselves good for being sinners and disgusting. Why? Because we're careless about everybody else except ourselves. Being selfish is not a mitzvah. It's the opposite. Now, on the other hand, Rabotai Karim, if a person wants to do TeShuva, it's simple and difficult at the same time. It's simple because the task is simple. Start caring about everyone except yourself only. Don't make yourself the center of attention all the time. Care about other people. Other people live in the world. You have a mom and dad? Care about them, take care of them. You have a wife, you have a husband, take care of them. You have children, take care of them. You have colleagues, you have work, you have partners, you have people that live in your world. Help people. You see, there's opportunities to help. But don't wait for people to come to you begging. Oh, he didn't ask, so I didn't help. Why does he have to ask? Why, you didn't notice that his kids were walking around with ripped clothes? You have to ask him, are you struggling with money? You see the guy hasn't worked. He hasn't left his house in 3 months. He can't get a job. Obviously, at this point, he's probably struggling for money. Ask him, listen, you need help maybe? Here's $1,000. Give it back to me when you have it. Why do you have to wait for people to beg you? You have a few extra dollars? Why don't you take those few extra dollars instead of buying another watch or a fancier car or the 13th couch? Instead of that, take that money, go help people do TeShuva. Help them go back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Help people that are struggling financially. Help people that don't have food to eat. What are you saving for a rainy day? Who says you're going to live to see rain? People care less about everybody else. Everyone cares about themselves. If you want to do TeShuva for it, first and foremost, every day, spend a few minutes doing something for other people. Every day. Not once a week. Oh yeah, once a week I bake challah for people. Okay, chazak u'baruch. Once a week you're doing good for other people. What about the other 6 days? I'm not saying you have to bake challah 7 days a week. I'm not saying you have to give rights to people like you're a free Uber 7 days a week. But every day you could do something for somebody. Sometimes it's simply giving them a smile. Sometimes it's calling them and asking them, how you doing? Sometimes it's sending a text message and inviting them to a shiur. Just simply be kind to people, Ribono Shel Olam, and stop thinking about yourself so much. And if you do that, guess what? Aside from that helping you as far as a mitzvah, aside from that being a good thing to do and publicizing HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name, it also is something that could save people's lives. Now I'm going to tell you a few stories. It was worth it to come to the world, not just to the shiur. It was worth it to come to the world just to listen to these stories. Every one of these stories is real. We're going to finish with this, but these stories, each one's going to take a few minutes, but I promise you, it was worth to come to the world to listen to these stories. Story number 1. One of our dear friends, one of the Avrachim in Yerushalayim, Rav Alimi, told the story to Rav Ephraim about a tzaddik by the name of Rav Yosef Paluch. Rav Yosef Paluch was a Ish Kadosh, Ish Tzaddik, a few decades ago. And he had a custom. He lived in Tel Aviv, before Tel Aviv became the Toivat Hashem that it became today. He had a custom. What was his custom? His custom was never learn Torah by yourself. You learn Torah, but never by himself. Always had to have a chavruta. Always study with somebody. Usually he would have students around him study with him, but sometimes they would be busy or they would do something else. She would literally go in the street and just point at somebody. Yo, come with me. Come learn with you 10 minutes. Just complete strangers. Hey, come with me. I know this tzaddik in Eretz Yisrael in Netanya. That's what he does. Young guys, 28, 29 years old, actually looking for a shidduch. Big tzaddik. That's what he does. When I go to Eretz Yisrael, he sets up shiurim for me. How does he set up shiurim? He says, you come, the whole place. I set up the place, I'll get you 150 people. I said, how are you getting 100 people? I'll get them off the streets. When I went to Eretz Yisrael, I literally saw him in my eyes. He started grabbing people and said, come, there's a big tzaddik here. Come, shiur Torah. Literally within 20 minutes, 150 people. He talks to them in such a way, you want to listen to him. He said, come, tzaddik, come. It's good for you. Come, it's good for you. Oh, I got a job, I got this. Nah, come, Torah, a few minutes. Next thing you know, the guy's there all night. Because it really was good for them. Let's get Gil. Amazing person. Mamash, whoever is lucky to be his wife, person, mamash, neshama Torah. Anyways, a side note, Rabbi Yosef Paloch had this minhag. Never study alone. She would go on the street, sometimes take people. But one day, Rav Paloch, looking, students are gone. He has to study, he wants to learn. Can't learn to, goes in the streets, goes outside, nothing. It's like as if the ground swallowed the world. Look, nobody's there. So he went into his building, started knocking on doors. Next door neighbor, somebody, I need to learn. I need somebody to learn. Start knocking on doors. Nobody's answering. 1 door, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20 doors. No one's home. Everybody left. Like it's Yom Kippur and everyone's celebrating Yerushalayim or something. He's the only one left. Nothing. He goes to the building next door, one floor after another. He starts knocking on doors. Nothing. Eventually gets to, I think it was like the 4th floor. He knocks on the door. Waits there a few seconds. As he's about to walk away, the door opens abruptly. Big guy with a lot of hair looks at him. He goes, who sent you? Apollo says, Hashem sent me because he loves you and he says he wants you to learn Torah with me for 10 minutes. This big guy has a shock of his life, grabs him, says, come in. Come to the house. Okay. Goes in, he goes, follow me. Goes in, follows this big guy. A little weird. Goes into a room. He sees in the room what? From the ceiling hangs a rope. He says, just a few moments ago, my neck was inside that rope. I was planning to commit suicide. And he starts telling him, the Rav Paloch, he tells him about his life. He grew up as an orphan, troubled life, all types of problems, lost money, lost jobs, lost this, lost that, didn't have any friends, no one liked him, people made fun of him. And he simply says, okay, that's it, I've had enough, I'm going to kill myself, who needs to live in this world? But before I did it, I set up everything, and I said to myself, okay, you know what, let me pray to this God and see if he answers. He says, Hashem, if you're there, if you even exist, and you remember that you created me, you remember that I exist, then show me that you love me once and for all. He says, that moment, I thought I heard something. I opened the door, there was nothing. So I got so angry, I said, that's it, I'm going. I set up the chair, I put the rope on my head, and I was right about to kick the chair. But then I heard real knocks. I said, what, am I crazy? Like there's real knocks. I took out the rope, I opened the door, and then you're there telling me, Hashem sent you because he loves me. So where are we learning? Took him to his house. They learned not for 10 minutes. They learned for an hour and a half that night. He helped him do TeShuva. The guy got married, built a Beit Yehudi, kids, Torah, Kedusha, Shtabach Shimolad. Why? He cared a little bit. He cared a little bit about Am Yisrael to go learn Torah with them. Not to learn by himself and only be by himself. Go learn with other people too. Story number one. Story number two. Young guy works in a restaurant, notices that his boss, every night, there's a lot of extra food left. He throws out all the food. The guy, young guy, 20, 21 years old, feels bad about it. He goes, listen, all this extra food, why are you throwing out? Give it to me. He says, sure, take it. I don't care. Take it. Take whatever you want. Take all the food. So the guy takes out all the food, all the leftovers, everything that's left from the restaurant. Then he goes to the store, buys from his own pocket the forks and knives, plates, some drinks, and he goes to the area where all the homeless people are. And he starts serving one after another the food. Here you go, here you go, here you go, I know this is it, here you go. You know, homeless people don't have anything to eat. He starts feeding them, mamash, 5-star restaurant, he starts feeding the food. Hey, wow, thank you, thanks man, thanks, wow, thanks. You know, everybody's happy, got this food, Baruch Hashem. Then he gets this Arab, and he goes, here you go. Go. It's food, it's free. Get out of here. No, I don't want your food. He says, why not? Because you're a Yehud. You're a Jew. I don't take stuff from Jews. You're anti-Shemi, like anti-Semitic, zealous. Stay hungry, just not take stuff from Jews. But the guy says you're mistaken. I'm not Jewish. I'm a Christian. I'm not a Jew. I'm a Christian. The Arab tells him it's not possible. You're a Jew. He goes, no, I'm a Christian. He goes, you're a Jew. Would you tell me what I am? He says, only Jews are that merciful, that they care enough about a bunch of people to feed them. Jews are the only ones, and I don't take anything from Jews. This bothered this kid. You know, he's one of these clever kids that knows that nothing happens for nothing. So he goes home, and he calls his mom. He goes, Mom, can I see you? She goes, yeah, sure, come over. Okay, so he comes over to his mom. He goes, starts, you know, she cooks him something. Yeah, goes, Mom, I got to ask you something. He goes, what? Am I Jewish? Mom, shock. Why you ask? I want to know, am I Jewish or not? She goes, why do you care? What difference does it make? You know, you're 20 years old. Go get yourself a girl. Do what you want. What do you care? What do you have these questions for? Why are you always asking questions? He goes, I just want to know, Ma, am I Jewish or not? And he starts pushing the buttons. He goes, okay, fine, you're Jewish. Because we're all Jewish. We just don't care. We think Jews, non-Jews, Christians, ours, we're all the same. We're just people. That struck something in this kid's mind. He says, if I'm a Jew, and this Arab won't take my food because he says Jews are merciful, why are they so merciful? Why do they care? Why do I have this inner instinct that this Arab says is unique? Why are only Jews this way? I mean, there are other people that are also merciful, but how come the Arab says that we're like that? I want to know what Jews are. He started learning Torah, started learning about Am Yisrael, he became a righteous Jew. Married a Bat Yisrael, built a house of Torah and Mitzvot. Why? Because you realize to be a Jew, aside from it being a lot of work, it's also a big responsibility. But if you fulfill that work and responsibility, you, my friend, are a priceless diamond. So the Christian that was really a Jew. Third story. Last one. Thought I had four. Third one. There was a famous Magid, famous speaker, that also played music, made people happy. Chabadnik, by the name of Rav Shlomo Karlibach. Although some of the ways that he communicated with people had a big machloket, some things were inappropriate, or at least viewed that way, some were, some weren't. That's not really the issue here. The issue here is that he was a very, very special person. He helped a lot of people. He tried to do good. Many people from Chabad try to do good. It's very admirable that some people spend years standing in the streets putting on tefillin on a bunch of strangers, really without wanting anything in return. Unfortunately, some people do it because they do want something in return. Those people are different. I'm talking about the real tzaddikim that actually just go around helping people put on tefillin, help people learn some Torah, help people come to Shurim and learn the Emet. Those special people. Some are from Chabad, some are from Breslov, some are regular Orthodox Jews. I have a couple of friends that are in New York, Bukharian guys. In their stores, they have an extra pair of tefillin. Why? Anybody comes to their store, say, "Oh, did you put on tefillin today?" They have a tefillin center. They put on tefillin. Nice thing to do. Why care about other people? So Shlomo Carlebach cared about other people. And he tried to make them happy, teaching them some stories of the tzaddikim with some music. And he had a custom that some people that he would meet at his shows, he would take their phone numbers and write it down on a piece of paper. And he would put it in one of his books. And if one day he's learning that book and the piece of paper with the phone number on it falls out and he gets to that piece of paper, he calls that person and just says hello. Because he felt that was like Ashgacha Pratit, it was like his own like divine message that, it's nice to call, it's good to call this person now. Why Hashem decided that's why you're running into this piece of paper out of the thousands and thousands that he accumulated over the years. So one day, Rav Shlomo Carlebach opens one of his Sfarim. He sees there's a little piece of paper fell out on the floor. He picks it up, opens it. He sees there's a Jewish guy's phone number. He picks up the phone and he dials the number. Toot. I know some of you guys don't know what toot is. You guys just have that's the dial tone of my generation. Today there's no dial tone. Now it was dial tone back then. Toot, toot, toot. It takes a little while. But after a little while, no one picked up. And there was no voicemail back then. Okay, nobody picked up. Said, let's try again. This also means that the dial tone used to dial it this way. You dial not just the buttons. You dial it this way. The one, you have to hold it to go all the way to the other side. Then let it go, and it's like it swings right back. And then this one, and it makes a cool sound. You guys are young. So anyway, he calls again. Toot, toot, nothing. But he has a minhag. He has a custom. He likes his own custom that it's mamash from Hashem. When I run into this piece of paper, it's from Hashem that I need to call this person. That's what Shlomo Carlebach said. I have to call this person. I have to reach him. So he says, let's try a third time. And he calls a third time. And this time, somebody answers. Hello? So, my dear friend, how are you? How you doing? This is Rav Shlomo Carlebach. I want to say, how you doing? How's everything? Remember we met 6 months ago in the show and this. Suddenly, the other side starts hysterical crying. He starts crying and crying and crying. It gets to one of those causes where you cry so much that you lose breath, you don't know what to do. And Shlomo Carlebach says, "What happened? Achi, my brother, what happened? What happened? What's wrong?" He says, "You wouldn't believe it. Right now, I have to tell you, because you called." And he starts telling him about his life and how his whole life has collapsed. He lost all of his money. His entire family went against him. People are making fun of him publicly. He is having a hell of a life. On top of that, he was sick and he suffered. And just mamash, one tragedy after another, after another, after another. And he says, that's it. I've had it. I can't do this anymore, Hashem. I'm going to kill myself. I cannot live in this world. And I prepared that today was going to be the day. I bought the rope, I bought the chair, I set it up, I put it on my head, but then I said, Hashem, if you care about me, give me some type of sign. Give me something that you at least care about me, that you want me to live. And I said, nothing's going to happen. And I put the rope on my head, and then the phone rang. And that was unusual because no one calls me. So I said, maybe Hashem is calling me. But then it stopped ringing. So I said, it's foolish. And I put the rope back on, and then the phone rang again. I said, okay, I'm going to get it. So I took off the rope, and then it stopped ringing. This is sick. Something's wrong. That's it. He puts the rope, and I'm about to kick the chair, and the phone rings again. I take off the rope, and I abruptly comes to the rope. I have to ask, hello, who is this? He says, hi, it's Shlomo Kalibach. How are you, my brother? You remember me? And now I know that Hashem, not only He's watching, not only He created me, not only He listened to me, but He loves me so much that He literally maneuvered the entire world just for you to call me. So I don't end my life for a stupid reason. So please, Rav Kalibach, can you please meet me and help me become happy? And they met, and Baruch Hashem, He helped them do tshuva. Why did this happen? Because he cared. Why does good in the world happen? Because people care. If you care, then good things will follow. If you don't care, then bad things will follow. The problem is, Rabotai, is that it's so easy to care today that everyone thinks somebody else will do it. It's so easy to just what? There's 50 cars at the traffic light. Somebody else will give this guy $1. Somebody else will give him a ride. Somebody else will hire him. Somebody else is going to do this. Somebody else is going to do that. No one wants to do anything themselves because they figure somebody else is going to do it. Why? Because they're selfish. This is also one of the reasons the Mashiach has not come, and we're happy about it. Strangely enough, we're happy. And the reason why, if the Mashiach came right now, we're doomed. Because almost 90% of Am Yisrael do not even keep Shabbat. And the reason why? There's not enough people that care. There's not enough people that care. There's plenty of people that know the truth. There's plenty of people that know Torah. Plenty of people that know enough to know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world. But unfortunately, Rabotai, not enough people care. Care enough to donate for it. Care enough to teach the truth. Care enough to do the will of Hashem. Not enough people care enough. And Rabbi Yonatan Eibeshitz, Alav Shalom, said in the Sefer Drashot Yarot Dvash, in Chelek Aleph, Darush Yud, page 269. He says that the biggest sinat chinam, the biggest baseless hatred that exists in the world today is when one Jew sees another making a sin and says nothing. One Jew sees another driving on Shabbat and he says nothing to him, even though he's his friend. He's driving to shul on Shabbat, thinking he's doing a mitzvah, driving to shul on Shabbat. He comes out of his car with a talit bag and his kippah on, because he thinks he goes to shul. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. He thinks it's a tzaddik. You saw him, you didn't say nothing. Rabbi Yonatan Eibeshitz says, that's sinat chinam. Why is it sinat chinam? Why is it baseless hatred? I said hi to him. I love him. If he invites me for dinner, I invite him for dinner. We like each other. He goes, no. That's sinat chinam. You hate him. Why? Because you know that he's sinning against Hashem. That means that you understand that he's going to get punished for it one day. He's going to get hit by the divine train of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that train is going to hurt. It's going to hurt for a really, really long time. It's probably going to be forever if it's Chilul Shabbat. You know that he's going to get hit by the train of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you don't care enough about him to tell him something? You hate him. You hate him. You could feed him shish kebab and steaks and invite him to your bar mitzvah and everything else, but if you don't tell him the truth about Torah, you hate him. And Rabotai Yekarim, that means that most of us hate Am Yisrael. Not love Am Yisrael. All of these fools that say, I love everybody, you only love everybody if you tell them the truth of the Torah. That's the only way you love everybody. Now, even if you don't have the capability of speaking or you don't have the knowledge, you can provide the truth to people in multiple ways today. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us countless ways to do that. You don't have to do it directly with your own mouth. You could do it indirectly by simply giving him a CD, by simply taking a link of this shiur and sending it to him, or any other shiur that we made. Sending it to him or her. Show him what it means to believe in Hashem. Or better yet, you don't want to give him the CD, you're too busy making money, you're too busy doing whatever it is that you're doing. You don't know how to speak, you don't have the ability to give CDs, you're not comfortable doing all that stuff. No problem. You have some money because you work so much, you have some money, donate it for Kiruv. Why? Because you're going to give us that money, we're going to use it to do your job. You're not doing us a favor by donating money. You're doing yourself a favor because you're obligated to care about Am Yisrael anyway. When it says Kol Yisrael Aravim Zeh LaZeh, all of Am Yisrael responsible for each other, that's what it means. You cannot continue seeing other Jews being Mechaleh Shabbat, being Mechaleh Shem Shamayim, being people that are going against Hashem on a regular basis and not do anything about it. So do something about it. You have a few dollars, you work, you're a teacher, you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you're a construction worker, you make some money, good. Take 10% of that money that you make, keep the other 90%, take 10%, give it to Be'ezrat Hashem, give it to a Kiruv organization that actually helps people do TeShuva, and guess what? We're going to take that money, we're going to print CDs, we're going to print USBs, we're going to make books, we're going to make videos, movies, events, and so on and so forth. For what? To do your job. To do your job. To show Am Yisrael that you love them. That's the point. If you care only about yourself, you're never going to want to give money. And if you give, it's going to be like almost like you're doing God a favor. You make $100,000 a year, but you donate $18. The guy makes $100,000, biggest donation of the year, $18 at a time. Once a month. He thinks he's doing chesed for anybody. Reality, Rabotai Karim, we have a very big obligation to help Am Yisrael. There are countless ways that you can do it. You could do it with money, you could do it with time, you could do it with skill, you could do it with your mouth, you could do it with inviting people to events, you could do it with social skills. There's countless ways to help Am Yisrael discover the truth. And all it requires is one thing: caring about other people. That's it. It doesn't require money. There are plenty of people that literally do not have any money to finish the month that help us do Kiruv every month more than everybody else. Plenty of people don't have money to barely finish the month, but they help us do Kiruv every month. They share videos on the internet, they distribute CDs, they invite people to lectures, they do all types of things to share the knowledge with the world, to share the knowledge with Am Yisrael, to share the knowledge with the entire world. Why? Because they care. Some people care, but don't have the time or the ability to share it and do all these things. So what do? They send money. They go on the internet. They go on Be'ezratHashem.org. They do a monthly deposit. Okay, I know that every single month I could donate $150. Why do I need to rethink about it every month? Just do it automatically. You do it one time, it comes out like a phone bill. Automatically deducted. You already know, okay, every month I'm doing this. Every month $150. Every month $1,000. Every month $50,000. Whatever it is, depending on what you make, depending on what you have. But the point is, do something. Stop being so selfish. Because you being selfless is not only going to save your life, your olam haba, but also could literally save a life in this world. By showing somebody the truth, you could literally give them a purpose to live. You can give them a reason not to kill themselves. There are countless people that are killing themselves. Countless people killing themselves for no reason. They just don't know anything about life. Give them that reason. Give them a CD. Give them something. Do something. That's what it means to care. Care doesn't mean you invite people for lunch. Maybe they already have food. Give them food for the soul. Give them the emet. That's what it means to care, Rabotai. This, I think, is perhaps one of the most important lessons that we can learn as a people, as a nation, as a species, as whatever you want. If you want to be good, you have to do good for others. Be'ezrat Hashem, this helps us reconsider some of our own actions, try to improve ourselves, try to do better than what we're already doing, stop thinking that we're doing enough, stop thinking that we are enough, stop thinking that it's only about us. We'll have work to do. Everyone can do something. Listen, if you're really good at making money, keep doing that. No problem. Go make money. Make $1 billion. But at least use part of that money to help other people. Don't just help yourself. It's no problem being good at money. I had one student tell me, listen, I want to quit my job. I want to quit my job and start learning. I said, you're not allowed. Why? You're good at making money. Make money and learn with making money. He goes, yeah, but I could learn a lot more. I said, yeah, you could learn a lot more. But in reality, you don't know if you're actually going to learn a lot more. Go manage your job, make your money, and learn a couple hours a day. That's good. You can learn more than 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day. No problem, do that too. If it gets to a point where you need to learn more because you like it so much, you can start working less. But don't just quit your job and think you're going to become Rabbi Akiva tomorrow. Why? Because Am Yisrael also needs people like you that make money. Especially now that you know the truth, especially now that you wanna do the good things. So go, continue making money, make a lot, and donate part of it for Kiruv, the rest of it, do whatever it is that you need to do to publicize Hashem's name, and obviously live your life. But nonetheless, don't just think that, this learning is for everyone, working is for everyone. Everybody's got a role in life. Everybody's got a role in life. Money is also important, we need to do it. But unfortunately, Rabotai, the only people that usually want to donate are broke, or almost broke. It's like on the verge of being broke. The biggest donors are usually on the verge of bankruptcy, but they still manage to scrounge up $100 a month to donate. The guys that are making tens of thousands of dollars a month, $18. Why? The ones that make more money like money more than they like God, unfortunately. So that's why, Rabotai, each one of us has to do a little cheshbon nefesh. What else can I do this year that we just started a new year? What else can I do to be a better version of me? What more good could I do for the world and stop being so selfish? All of us are selfish. Myself first. We all need to become selfless. Start doing more. All of us are also good too. We're not all bad. There's good, there's bad. Now we have to do more good. Add more to the good side. And that key is to start caring about Am Yisrael learning the truth. Be'ezrat Hashem, this gives us chizuk that we need. If you heard it, that means you need it. And that if you spoke it, you probably need it more than everybody else. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen.